Hey, Podcast America, we are back. And before we get into the show, let's talk about Allegiance Holsters, which you can find at allegianceholsters.com. And if you use code TNW10 at checkout, you can get a little discount to help you out, offset the shipping costs. They make your inside the waistband holsters, outside the waistband range holsters. And what I like to say is that if you are not an everyday carry person with a gun, you should be an everyday carry person with a first aid kit. And you can get your individual first aid kit, IFAC, at allegianceholsters.com. And then second, we have our buddy Tyler and Vanessa Stanaway's Forest School, which you can find details for at compassionateviking.com. And what they are running is a program to get kids out of the house, off the sofa, doing a little bit of, traditional type activities and chores, and kind of bonding with each other and learning a lot about gardening and farming and just how the world works.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. And then finally, we have my own Training Northwest, and we are a dealer of Vortex Optics. And if you're a local here in Snohomish County, if you buy a Vortex Optic from us, you can take advantage of our Optic Zero program, because we don't want you putting a new optic on the shelf because it's not zeroed. So if you buy from us, you get to come out and zero on our range. I'll run a few drills for you to get you kind of used to the new glass. And then if you're not local, if you want to buy a new deer rifle scope or binoculars, spotting scope, whatever, hit me up on an email. I can get it in the mail to you, and you're supporting a small business. All right, guys. Mike, what's this show about? We had Tyler on today. It was a lot of fun.
This show, we went everywhere, anywhere, and beyond. But what this is, to me, it's like you get your buddies in from the gym, and you really get to know them. You get to have a sit down, a conversation, fucking just talk with cool people, and yeah, you hit every aspect of a good night.
Yeah. Jordan, you got anything?
I'm on mushrooms, dude.
Fucking A. Enjoy the show, you guys.
Cool. Started whiskey.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like locally?
Yeah. So I don't
In
know.
his bathtub? Or
No,
like
they
he has
got
a whiskey
legit
thing?
and I think they just got a deal where they can make like
Oh, legit is in legal.
Legal, and like I think they can make like up to like 130 gallons a year or something like that. Or
Okay, I thought you meant he had entered like the
I'm sorry,
moonshining fucking industry.
30,000 gallons is what I meant to say.
A year?
A year. Like a full industrial
Dang.
fucking setup. Like
So
they
what?
got licensed
How many
for it.
years? Oh no, bourbon. You can make bourbon in 1 year, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think.
So I was to say, how many years commitment is that before you can even sell a batch like Scotch, where it's 12?
Well,
years
I
or
think you can
whatever?
only be in. Don't you have to be in Kentucky, Bourbon, Kentucky, to make true bourbon?
True bourbon.
Yeah, we went to some bourbon tour in Kentucky 2 years ago, and I can't. They told us all the rules, and I can't remember. But yeah, I think
Semantics.
true bourbon.
Semantics.
I think does have to come from Bourbon County, but then there was some other like little wordplay where from everywhere else could call it bourbon, but then there were certain rules around whether it was aged for a full year or taken out of the barrel at like 10 months or whatever. So it was they go deep.
Yeah, they did try and make distinctions and bullshit rules. And
Well, hey, we are back from a little bit of a hiatus.
But vacay, what are you talking about, man?
Well, for you guys.
We hammered it for 22 weeks putting these episodes out. It's hard getting three people together once a week with schedule and conflict and family and, you know.
Yeah. You
No,
know what?
that
You're
was our break.
To have a 22-week streak was actually pretty good. And then it finally, like, life caught up with us. And we just could, like Mike said, we couldn't get everybody in the room together at one time for a couple weeks now. So it's actually, I'm super happy that we're back. This is going to be fucking fun night.
yeah.
And to make it even better, we got our buddy Tyler Stanaway sitting here in the garage with us.
Brown belt Tyler Stanwood.
Hey, what's up?
Yeah.
He does jujitsu.
Yeah, I do jujitsu, and the thing is that so do you guys. That's how I know you fuckers.
Oh my God. This is what people are going to sit at home and think like, why is everybody into so into jujitsu? It's just four retards who sit around giggling at themselves. What's the draw?
I know the draw. I told Vanessa this literally 2 days ago.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Or maybe it was last night. No, it was 2 days ago. we were talking about something about jujitsu, and she's like, not everyone needs to do jujitsu. I said, you're right. That's not what I'm saying. However, one of the things that I find that's helped me even more than the self-defense part is that jujitsu has been the only thing that I've done, and I've done a lot of things other than go to war, where I've been put into fight or flight for a long enough period of time to assess how I behave in that state of mind.
Yeah.
And what I found is that my default setting is to fight. I'm a person who fights rather than runs away, unless I have to. Flight is still there if I do need to fucking run. But for the most part, I'm a fight person. But then my default setting is still like panic, adrenaline dump, heart rate spike, oh fuck, and then I die. That's when grandpas choke me out. That's when little girls choke me and break my bones. And I'm like,
Seeing
okay.
red and just going
Exactly.
black.
You think bodies are going to hit the floor, but really that's not the case.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't until I could assess how I was behaving in that state of mind before I could get my shit together and make rational decisions and problem solve even in the, at the highest level, I guess, subconsciously.
Yeah.
Because
It's stress inoculation. You're putting yourself under constant stress and learning how to operate. I mean, they do that in the
100%.
military
Oh,
with
yeah.
like shooting guns over your head as you belly crawl.
Yeah,
but that gets you comfortable to explosions and making rash decisions, not freaking out and panicking in the moment. Yeah.
Which makes me also like trust you guys a lot because I know that you've been put through these tests where if someone comes and breaks into the house, no, right now, it's not that.
You see me running down the street.
Well, all
Fight
four
or
of us,
flight.
fight or flight is going to kill. I mean, you can't. I don't think you can stop that from happening.
No.
We're all going to be sent directly into it, but we have been in. We're so familiar with it that it's like, okay, these are the steps.
Yeah.
Rather than us running around in here going, oh my God, oh my
What do
God.
we
oh my
do?
God. You know what I mean? Where's the gun?
You've got him off. I've got a wrench. Yeah.
Yeah, no, and that is the big difference in why I think that it's becoming so popular. Talking to Jim CrossFit Jenny, and then her being like all in now on jiu-jitsu to the point where she's about to like quit CrossFit to come to.
Should.
So did Dave Potts.
And Dave.
I
right?
mean, he didn't quit CrossFit. But
No, but
he's
he
more
wants to.
focused on jiu-jitsu.
No
Yeah.
offense, Dave.
Because it teaches you more than just physical fitness.
Yep.
It teaches you more than just the capability of carrying your buddy to safety. It teaches you how to behave in a situation where no matter what you, like, I can't think of a different situation where I go, okay, you ready? So for the next 6 minutes, we're going to look at each other in the eye and I'm going to try and kill you as hard as I can. But right before you die, if you tap out on me, I'll let go.
Yeah.
Or if I can't do that, I'll break your bones right off the side of your body. But once again, right before they break, as long as you tap, I promise I'll let go. Okay, ready? Go. And it's like your body goes into a certain, it's like, oh, fuck, oh, fuck,
It's
oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Until you're calm. When you roll with you, when you roll with you, when you roll with anyone above, blue, by the time they're purple belt, they're pretty fucking calm if they need to be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, sure, they can get after it, but it's not the bonered out white belt who's just stiff,
The higher the belt color, I think the lazier, well, for me particularly, the lazier I get. Maybe not Greg. Greg's, he'll flip the switch. But it's like, I've been in so many bad or compromised positions that it's like, don't panic. There's always a hole out. Just start figuring it out. And that's what leads to success. What doesn't lead to success is, like you say, flailing, kicking, and just making rookie mistakes, whether that's
You have.
in
I
jiu-jitsu.
had an aha night. Just had a couple of them the last 2 weeks, but just yesterday.
Is that where the black eye came from?
Yeah.
Motherfucker.
Epiphany.
Fucking. There are so many 200-pound white and blue belts at that gym that being 180 pounds is exhausting. And those, like guys like Josh and Marcus and Nick, the big cop. And so anyway, rolling with Josh and Nick last night, and I finally started putting the inversion stuff when you've got a little bit of a guard, start inverting as they start trying to smash, and then you pop out behind them in seatbelt, and it's like, the light bulb went on. It's like,
Inversion's awesome because it's cutting angles. Like in stand up and striking, you're all, you're punching someone in front of you. But when you can cut an angle and slide, now you're punching them, but they're punching the air. And I think inversion is the same thing, but for grappling. And when I learned that from Greg and stuff, it was just like, oh my God, this gets me wet. It was awesome.
It makes a big fucking difference.
Yeah.
There's nothing more frustrating than putting pressure into somebody and them disappearing. It's like, who the fuck are you? Like, all of a sudden it's a body in front of you, and then all of a sudden
gone. Yeah.
And it's like, son of a bitch.
Even last night, I was going with I'm having a brain fart. Kyle's friend. He's another blue belt.
Oh,
And
Brett.
Brett. I'm going with Brett.
Are they friends or are they married?
Oh, I think they're married.
It's a domestic partnership for tax reasons, let's be honest.
But they've been getting good. They practice all the time.
Yeah.
And I kept passing Brett's guard, and he would invert, and he wouldn't get back to guard, but he would be like folded in half with with his feet in between me still. And it's like, dude, I can't split you in half. I can't solidify a side control or a neon belly.
Yeah.
Because
You're tippy.
no matter where you go, like your body's doing this, but your feet remain in between me and you. Yeah. And I'm about to kick you.
That's the fight, not the flight.
Fucking let me in here, bro. I passed your guard. Quit trying to fucking keep your knee from me getting on knee on belly. Just accept it. Yeah. Well, at the same time, it's like, nah, he's doing what he's supposed to be doing. Yeah. Pissing me off. I like it when people accept defeat when I'm going with them. Just let me win, man.
That's the thing.
Well, you like the feeling of like having somebody break under you.
But the gym,
that is the greatest. If taking somebody's just will away from them and them just because you can feel it, like, and I'm addicted to it.
Of course,
we all are.
Of course,
yeah. And just all of a sudden, like, they just quit, not because they wanted to.
And when does that happen? At what point in your guys' journey? Because that's something that for me didn't happen. I don't even think really into my blue belt until maybe the last part of the blue belt before I could actually take someone's soul. It's going to be a newer white belt, and it takes, quite a bit of time before you can before you get to feel that.
Yeah.
Have you felt that yet, Toby? Where you get to suck someone's soul?
You ever suck someone in the gym, Toes? You ever suck their soul?
Suck it dry.
Only in the
Ever
sauna,
suck 'em
never
dry?
on the mat. Oh, man. No. But there were a couple guys that came in with my sort of group of white belts who they were so weak that when I grabbed a hold of their collar, it almost made me go, oh. Like, it surprised me because, like, just grabbing a hold of their collar kind of buckled them at the hips a little bit, and they started to, like, I was just sort of pushing them down just by the weight of my fist, right?
Yeah.
And I remember just thinking, oh, this is a weird feeling because I'm so used to rolling with guys like you, and I would just grab them and just yank down and shove them onto use their collar to slam their face onto the mat.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Nice.
if that's not a wake-up call, that you need to get off your ass.
Yeah, their whole body's like a doctor's handshake.
Yeah. It was weird. It's still to this day, like, weirds me out to think about it. Like, their entire body, their legs included, their legs and their hips included, it was like a damp towel.
Yeah, like Jello.
But even like the high school kids or junior high kids, like, they come in and, like, I don't remember being in junior high or high school and having kids like that, like, around us. Like, and it's not because
They were in the AV club. They weren't in the wrestling club.
Well,
hang on.
They had helmets
I
on.
thought you were talking about the kids you coach at wrestling. You're talking about
I'm
the
talking
wrestling
about-
kids who come into the jiu-jitsu.
No.
They made the cookies.
no. So I'm talking about when I was a kid, like, it wasn't like that. And I'm sure when you were a kid, it wasn't like that. I know that, right? There was a different breed of kids now, and, like, these kids are, like,
Oh yeah, because we were all out, chasing
doing shit, but
salamanders.
you weren't
and
afraid
shit
to get in a fight, and it wasn't as big of a.
We were kind of rough and
there
tumble.
wasn't a repercussion as much.
Right.
Also, dads, at least my dad, he wasn't. I wouldn't say he condoned fighting. He didn't want me going out fighting, but it was also talked about. It was a real thing. It was, hey, if someone's being a fucking bully to you, tell them to stop.
Yeah.
And if
Stick
they
up for
don't,
yourself.
yeah. If they punch you, if they fight you, you fucking fight back and make sure that you finish it because you never know what they're going to do to you, even if it's on accident. And that's just kind of how it was. But then
my dad was real calm. He would be like, and I think he only said it once or twice. He's like, if somebody's pushing you around, stick up for yourself.
Yeah.
And that's all he said.
Well, that's all you need to say. There's not much more to be said. Hey, stick up for yourself, dude.
But you were able to play around and be rough and tumble. And these kids, it's like,
that's
roughhouse, no roughhouse, no this, no that. And it's like,
We would do sleepovers, and we would have
fight night.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
One kid would be on his standing on the bed, and it was king of the bed, right? Blast him off of there, and you're on the bed, and now it's
like,
you know what I
"Come
mean?
on, bitches."
Yeah, and then there's 4 or 5 other guys all circled around waiting to fucking slam your ass onto the floor.
Parents trying to go to bed at 3:30 in the morning, and you just hear drywall getting broken. Yeah,
Stomping on the carpet.
that's a bunch of boys. Sleepovers as a young kid was fun. It was chaos. It
In
was
fact, we used to play.
Dude, it always ended sweaty.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's right. You wouldn't go to bed till 5 in the morning. You'd wake up at 10 and be like, why am I wearing my soccer cleats?
Dude, one summer, my dad had spent an entire summer after work building a downstairs basement for us and my 3 brothers.
a rumpus room.
Yep, downstairs, out in the orchard. There was no, we didn't make noise. It was fucking. It was
Were you
pretty
on
much-
property when you say orchard?
Yeah.
How many acres?
I think 5 then, but there was it was connected to
Just
another 100.
hundreds of acres of orchards, and then if you took the dirt road
you were a Wenatchee.
in between Wenatchee and Arrondo,
So, were you Apple? Yeah,
yeah,
cool.
and there was a little sand dunes area, maybe 1 to 2 acres of just sand
Hell
dunes,
yeah, dude.
and then a little
Little dirt bike Tyler.
right down to the river. There was
Oh,
a
really?
little beach and everything. My dad had a boat. It was really cool.
Whoa.
Yeah. So what was I saying? Okay, my dad had spent an entire summer building us a downstairs basement. Okay, playroom. Literally, the night that it gets done, he's painted it. It's drywall. It's all ready. Okay, puts the couches in there, puts the TV in there, our fucking toys. Goes to sleep.
The drywall's fucked.
Bro, dude, I look back at this exact thing, and I think if my boys did this, I do not know what I would do. I would literally want to fucking wring their neck.
Yeah.
So I'm the oldest of the brothers. So clearly I'm the one who came up with this idea or went along with, made it happen. We went and got, do you remember Connects by any chance?
Yeah.
Okay.
Little
We had
Tinker Toy type.
Yep,
things.
we had buckets of Connects, and there's white Connects that are like little circles, and then there's yellow Connects that are just straight twigs. And you could click them all the way around, and it'd become a ninja star.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Okay.
I was going to say, did anybody make anything other than weapons
Yes.
with the Connects?
So we moved, or I must have, because I'm older, moved the couch like this in between the fucking room. So it's like a tennis court.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have
A battlefield,
the neighbor
you mean.
kid, my buddy, and me on one side, and the 3 brothers on the other. And we fucking go to war, dude.
Yeah.
And there is more holes in the drywall than you could ever fucking imagine.
There's Connects just stuck into every wall.
Yes.
What the
in
fuck?
the ceilings. But then
Holy
here's the
shit.
catcher.
About the size of straws.
Here's the catcher. It's summertime. It's hot as fuck down there, and my dad has this big ass oscillating fan. We look over, and there's a whole box of cherries, and we're like, dude, watch this. And we take the cover off of the fan, and we set the fucking fan up right in the doorway. And we all turn it on high, and we get fucking a handful of cherries each, and we'll just pitch it into the fan and watch it woo all over the room. We could paint the room. We did this. And my dad fucking hears us and comes downstairs, and I thought he was going to fucking kill us. I'm not kidding you guys. And I think he was so mad that he wanted to fucking cry.
Yeah.
He's like, I just spent
Yeah.
all of my extra money, all of my days after work for 3 fucking months for you boys to have a room downstairs that you could call your own and play it whenever you want. And you don't even make it till morning before the thing is covered in cherry juice and billions of holes in the wall. And my brother Curtis has lumps all over his face from just getting tagged by the ninja stars.
Fuck.
Shit.
Yeah.
Oh man,
That's tough being a parent, man.
Yeah.
Because it's like I did those things too as a kid. We all do them.
yeah. My boys put divots all over the drywall, but nothing on that scale.
Don't let them listen to this episode. I know they're
I
avid
haven't
listeners.
Yeah.
Don't let them listen.
Man,
I was too scared of my fucking dad. There's no dude. I was scared shitless of my dad until I was like 15 years old. Until I got into junior high and started wrestling. Like I started having success in wrestling, and like that's when like I think he started like realizing he was kind of fucking up a little bit. It's like being a little bit too hard. And then like he was making an effort, and I was at this junior high he went to. So there's like this fucking kind of bond thing. Teachers know each other, you know, we're generation, you know. But yeah, there was no fucking way I was doing anything like that to my dad. It was like he
That's
will
good.
beat my fucking ass. Like, yeah, he just fuck that, dude. I was scared shitless, and then like I said, you get into that point where it's like, I think I could take dad. Like, and
Isn't that so funny? Boys get to that thought. They like lay in their bed and they're like, I think I could beat my dad up.
Yeah.
Or I wonder if my dad could, like, how strong is he? Yeah. You know?
Yeah, but growing up, your father's like the protector. Your father's like, you know, he protects the family, he protects you. He's everything. It's what you look up towards as masculinity. But then once you hit those teenage years and that testosterone
literally
starts
every
flooding,
mammal, right? Lions,
yeah.
chimpanzees,
And that's why they
it's
leave
like,
the den.
The young males start to try to challenge the silverback.
But those young men still live with their parents in this weird society for another 5, 6, you know, depending when it happens. And it's I think it's natural though, that challenge, because I think it's also the same type of thing. Like that moment, you ever realize like I was gonna say I'm smarter than my parents, but that was the perfect sound for that. But you think that.
Oh man.
Like you'll think like, you know,
Now
I think my parents are dumb at a certain point.
my dad could remember all of his high school calculus just straight off memory. So I remember,
but
as I was getting to
that's
that
memory.
point where I would have thought that, I remember being in high school calculus class and coming home being like, shit, I am stuck on this homework. And my dad would just kind of peep over my shoulder and be like, oh, it's like this. And I'd be like, you do that every day? He's like, no, I just remember.
Yeah.
Like, holy fuck.
But that's memory. That's not intelligence. And I think
I see what you're saying.
as you get older, it's harder to know like kind of what's happening with culture and the youth and just the differences. And I think not only like that challenging thing, but like as you start to develop into an adult, I think you think so much of what your parents teach you is maybe false. Not false, but like they just stop being able to see what's happening because they're stuck in their times. I'm still stuck listening to Blink-182. I don't know who the new bands and the new and the new culture is.
Yeah. So you think they're outdated and
and I think that's part of
you don't understand what's happening now.
Yeah.
Like, no.
Yeah, I do. You guys are fucking out of your mind. I see exactly what's going on, and it's not cool.
No shit. Is there? Hang on. You were talking about parents being up on pop culture. What I've noticed is that my kids want to listen to the same music I listened to when I was their age.
Well, there's a certain amount of that, right?
Which means, it's interesting because it means that no new good music is coming out.
Well, I don't necessarily think that, but I think that there's a certain level, like, because I listen to the same music that my dad listened to when he was a kid. You know, I was like into Soundgarden and all that kind of stuff. And
Me too. I still listen to what my dad listened to.
100%.
Because I did not have at all the same taste my dad did in music.
Oh, well, what kind of music did your dad listen to?
Oh God, a lot of like like 90s pop country, like Alan Jackson. And
I listen to all that shit too. So
yeah, I
was
was really into Metallica and Pearl Jam and all the
metal stuff. Like
sort of the 90s grunge, whatever.
at what age?
Middle school. Through
Dude,
high
my
school.
dad went to Woodstock.
You want to talk about now.
music
Okay,
relation?
well, you get when you start fucking. That's the music you listen to for the rest of your life.
Then you have everybody has like a fling with Boys to Men in high school, and we all know what that's about.
Yeah,
but the music you actually enjoy, right? Like, it actually started with Guns N' Roses and Motley Crue in like third or fourth grade, right?
Yeah.
And my dad was like, that was when the parental advisory explicit lyrics were first like starting to become a thing, and my dad was kind of concerned because supposedly Motley Crue was satanic, and it's like it's just a fucking act. But then
they were quite the actors, though.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
A lot of heroin with Nikki Six.
They're dressed like girls. We're still fighting
they're
the
like
battle.
transvestites that all the chicks want, which is fucking weird.
Hurts.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah, but like I read Heroin Diaries, and when Nikki Sixx was talking about fucking, just chicks naked, bent over doggy style in the hotel room with blow on their ass and doing lines and fucking them down the rows with Tommy Lee, and then just go, throwing the beds and shit out.
And they were
the
dressed
windows.
like chicks.
Yeah, they got makeup on.
Yeah.
The craziest thing I got from that book is he would be like, I would order $5,000 worth of heroin. I would shoot up in my closet because it was the only safe space.
Naked.
And then I would get paranoid and flush it down the toilet. Then I would call my dealer back up in a couple hours when I came down, and it's like, dude, he went through so much money on heroin. That's a great book.
That is crazy. I remember reading it and like him talking about like crawling outside into the back and having that girl that he like kind of like fell in love with or whatever. And I'm like, bro, I just can't even imagine. Or showing up at the fucking radio station in the middle of the night, walks right into the radio station, takes the mic from the fucking dude, makes a little thing, hey, if you can guess this sound, blah, 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 pulls his dick out and starts smacking it on the microphone.
It's a rock star, man. That's a rock star. That's what you do.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
But they were the first ones. Like that, Elvis Presley wasn't doing that shit.
Yeah.
No.
You know what I mean? They were the first.
Right.
I think they were just not on stage.
I don't think they were not.
He wasn't walking into a radio
Buddy Holly
station and
married a
slapping his dick around.
12-year-old. You know what I mean? It's like
Perverted shit.
Yeah, but they would. I mean, drugs were back in the day, and I think that's what you see of music acts of the 80s is what, like, when the music of the 50s, 60s, and 70s really took off, you got managers. And part of being a manager is keeping your client happy.
I have a theory about this. I actually think the music changed and the rock star culture changed from the 70s to the 80s as everybody went from psychedelics to fucking cocaine.
Of course.
Yeah,
I was just going to say, Grateful Dead wasn't mainlining Jack Daniels, bro. That's other things. It's like when
they
Tommy
literally
Lee's
went from
fucking slamming
psychedelic
Jack Daniels into your buddy's neck right before.
Holy fuck. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was our hunting trip. That was nuts.
We almost got them.
You went from bands like Led Zeppelin and the Grateful Dead, and all these guys were doing a bunch of psychedelics, Black Sabbath.
Yeah.
And then the 80s came and everybody started doing coke. And literally, I think the change in the music can be attributed to the change in the drugs the rock stars were doing.
The best is that movie.
Yeah, the tempo went up
that sounds
150
funny, but
beats.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
You ever seen the movie Walk Hard? The Dewey Cox story.
Yeah.
What is that?
You don't want
That's
none of this.
marijuana.
Yeah, but that's it. That's exactly it. It's
Is it-
marijuana.
Turns all
It
your
makes
bad
you feel-
feelings into good feelings.
Sounds addictive. No.
It's not habit forming.
But that's
I think I want me some of that cocaine.
You don't want none of this, do we?
But that's like, look at the Beatles. It was
can't smell
marijuana, then it was acid, and then it's like the music changed from I want to hold your hand to fucking Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds.
Yeah.
But that's what culture is. That's why like Terrence McKenna is fun, because it's like he talks about a drug culture, but then he talks about like getting into alcohol cultures and how that affects the way they produce, the way they have relationships.
Dude, we are living in an alcohol culture. So, I mean, right?
Well, I mean,
But the last time I was out to dinner with my kids, we went to the burger place down the road, and Nathan was like, At one point, he just looks at me and goes, Dad, every advertisement on the walls in here is for alcohol. And I was like, I looked around. And I was
Did you take him in the bar?
I don't want to say the name of it, but it's a burger chain that's local here in like Snohomish and Skagit County. And I looked around. And I was like, sure as shit. Every fucking advertisement on the walls was for alcohol.
Yeah, because they're free, and you need to put shit on the walls.
Well, but it's a family restaurant. You know what I mean? And it never even occurred to me that everywhere you look in there is an advertisement for booze.
We're also in a weird fucking spot right now too, because everything's so easy. Well, I feel like alcohol's good in certain regard because it allows people to open up, especially
it's conversation lubricant.
Well, and do 4-person podcasts.
Well, yeah, but then also like it allows like hard people who are just like tight-lipped, like just straight down the middle guys.
Stoic.
Like I mean Russians. Right,
Igor,
to all of a sudden say, "Hey, I love you, man."
Yeah,
and then guess what? When you come out of that shit, you're back to stone-faced, hard, going to work, doing your shit, coming back, opening up.
Stop! Can you stop giving me your stone face? George's over. He's demonstrating.
No, this is. I didn't. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
So dead behind the eyes.
Hurts, but I think it's good for some things. I don't necessarily think it's the greatest.
Dude, I think cocaine has its place. I think acid has its place. I think alcohol has its place. Marijuana has its place. Yeah. What happens is when your daily life is using those places, like it's time to party.
Look at the heroin addicts. Is like when you snap your femur and it's poking through your thigh, I give you a pass. Okay.
Yeah.
The problem is that that's not what's going on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there is a time and place. There's a reason anything with power can be swung further on the pendulum.
Yeah.
So whether it's these really high powered drugs or alcohol or a fucking gun or jujitsu, it can be used. It can be used for negative. All of those things.
Yeah.
You know, we could go rob a bunch of houses right now if we wanted to. Yeah. We have the power to do that between us four.
Yeah.
Or we could sit here and if anything ever bad happened, we could protect all the houses in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Right? And I think the same goes for mind altering substances. Is that there's a time and place and it can be used for good.
Yeah.
And it can also be used for bad, and it's up to the user to decipher what avenue they're going to take that thing.
Yeah. And you mentioned the femur, like the compound fracture, and opiates are a painkiller. And I wonder if the reason people are sort of falling into that addiction is because they're trying to alleviate emotional pain.
Yeah.
And so I think that they should be treated. The more I listen to people who are experts on this and read these studies that are coming out of like Johns Hopkins and Stanford, I think they should be treated with psychedelics. Mm-hmm. And I think that needs to be put on the table as like the primary way of treating the deep opiate addiction. And because it's been proven over and over again that it actually fucking works.
The issue is that you and I both know that
money off
that's not part of it.
I'm talking as like if we could be in charge for a month.
100%. I would fuck, dude. I mean, Greg was over and we eat mushrooms this morning.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously we're not tripping on mushrooms. We eat a tiny amount.
So what?
I rolled the best I've ever rolled last Monday after eating a mushroom.
Really?
Oh,
dude, it does something.
Yeah.
Don't take enough to where you feel it.
Yeah, you microdose.
Yeah, but if you microdose
what's
mushrooms,
a microdose?
What do you do? Like lick a cat?
my T-shirt was glowing when I walked.
Yeah, one little tiny. It depends. Depends on the size of the mushroom.
But you do a cap, not a stem?
I do the whole thing. One stem,
Just
one cap. I try to
one?
make it to where I can roll it into. It comes into like a ball about that big.
Okay.
Like the size of a pea, or
Yeah,
I can't. Okay.
Maybe be about the size of a pea. So anywhere between like 100 to 300 milligrams. So 0.1 to 0.3.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anywhere in between there.
If you go, because never having done it, like I don't know what that microdosing is versus
a macrodose versus a heroic dose.
Versus oh shit, this was too much for this roll.
Anything more than a microdose is probably going to be too much for the roll.
No. No.
a different.
Okay.
No, smoke on the water over here.
Yeah.
Really good roll.
Yeah, golly.
You can eat as many as you want.
Chasing tracers.
I don't think you should go heroic dose.
No, fuck
But
no.
I wouldn't even
I'll
go.
put it this way. I was wearing a baby blue T-shirt, and by the time I got out of my truck and walked into the gym, I was like, this T-shirt is glowing. And I remember walking in, and Troy and Kayla were standing there. And Troy's like, what's up, man? And I was like, can you see my T-shirt glowing? He's like, nope. And I said, yeah, I ate a mushroom. He just started laughing. He's like, all right.
Yeah.
But the first round, and it was what was it, Labor Day? So Greg was like, you know what, we're not going to do a lesson. We're just going to roll.
Memorial Day.
Was it Memorial Day? Memorial Day, I thought was
Last
in May.
weekend's Labor Day.
Labor Day. And I rolled with Anthony. I was like, I'm just going to try to use no strength.
Oh, yeah, you're
all
right.
balance.
You're right.
You don't wear white after Labor Day. That's the only way I know that. And yeah, I'm a fag.
Yeah, what the fuck was that? What's that
sure how to
about? What?
respond
Hold on. Stop. What?
White is a summer color, and so that signifies the last weekend, like the 3-day weekend of summer. So now it's time to start wearing earth tones.
You got to get out your
Never fucking mind. All right.
get out
Sorry,
your
guys.
skirt and your knee-high boots and your vests
All right. Well.
and your turtlenecks.
So I'm wearing fucking
That's
shorts
earth tone.
yeah,
Black.
We're good.
Nike Air Maxes over here.
What the hell were we?
Don't hate me because I got kicks.
Anyway,
What were we talking about?
mushrooms. Taking you rolling good on
Rolling.
mushrooms.
Oh, so first round I rolled with Anthony, and I was like, I'm not going to use any muscle. I'm going to try to use just like balance points and leverage. Dude, I think I subbed him like 4 times.
Nice.
And it was without, and I was even trying to go slow. I was like, I want to go slow, but it changes the way your brain is processing information, I think.
Yep.
And then I can't even remember who I rolled with the next couple of rounds, but it was like, I've never been so fluid and kind of, I didn't have that pausing to think. It was just sort of into,
It chains together easier. The two things.
it's shown to lubricate the synapse. Like it actually, I think, breaks apart old synapses in your nervous system so that they can sort of reform and
Get new
create.
paths.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
it creates new pathways or whatever. Also, the thing that I've noticed most consistently with eating the mushrooms and rolling is I've eaten a bunch and I've eaten not very much. And for me, I'm going to stick to not very much.
Yeah.
But regardless, the one consistent thing that I found is the fatigue factor. So I'm fatigued far less if I eat mushrooms. And
Because you're looser.
Probably.
no, maybe that's part of it. But I guess there's been I was talking to Greg about this earlier, and Kyle, Brett's buddy,
Yeah.
his
Domestic partner.
his domestic partner, one of his best friends is like a neuroscientist at Harvard and is researching psilocybin. So he's like doing an experiment type thing, and he was asking me all these
On
questions.
Electric North.
And he had said,
We're all just monkeys in a cage.
yeah.
Oh my God.
And he had said something about the mushrooms being able to transport oxygen. It can give the body more oxygen in a sense.
Like helps your hemoglobin or something bind better?
It can carry. You can carry more
Yeah, you can-
oxygen in your blood. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
yeah,
the
it's
reason,
like a transporter.
Yep. And the
Binds.
reason is well, I don't know if the reason, but one of the things about it is the mushrooms, unlike plants. See, plants breathe carbon, CO2, carbon monoxide.
Okay, well, that leads me to a theory.
Hold on.
Yeah. I think I know where he's going. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, so
Yeah.
but mushrooms do not. Mushrooms are not a plant. Mushrooms are way closer to a body.
People.
Yes.
They're people.
And they breathe oxygen. And so I'm wondering if the whole thing is essentially living structured water that breathes oxygen. When you put it in your body and it dissipates, the oxygen has to go somewhere.
Yeah.
So is it just dispersing itself like into my bloodstream and allowing, because I've noticed, like, take a Friday in particular. We go there enough, we all know when our like fatigue point sets in, where it goes from, hey, I no longer can grab a collar. I literally have to just move, do whatever jujitsu I know. We're going to do that from now on.
Oh man.
that point comes at different rounds for all of us. But say it's like we do 13 rounds on a Friday. I don't even remember. Yeah. Okay, 9, I'm fucking toast. And the next 3 or 4, I just, right? Yeah. But then if I eat the mushrooms by fucking, it'll be like round 12, and I'm still like,
I'm in this.
I think of course I'm tired, right? I mean,
You're all
energy output is tremendous.
But you have the ability
I'm not just sucking wind.
Yeah.
And I've noted, it took me probably 4 times before I noticed it, and I was like, there's maybe something to this. And then Greg had mentioned it today, and Kyle had mentioned it to me yesterday at jiu-jitsu. And so I'm like,
Do you think if it's messing with your synapses and the thought of what tired is kind of getting washed away, and you're just thinking about what you need to do as opposed to what your body's doing? Like,
I don't think so. It gives you
no,
a
it
charge.
feels,
it gives you a
it
charge.
feels like,
so like that chaga.
Last time I
mud water bullshit.
I'm going to give you some mushrooms. And I want you to experiment. You're getting in this cage with us here because we need to figure this out. Because I understand not wanting to like feel the mushrooms. Mm-hmm. You can take.
It's amazing when you do.
It's not bad,
bro. It's like having. It's like the universe is hugging you. Is what it feels like.
It feels like
that's what I feel like.
Do you take lion's mane with it, or do you just take the?
I take a like active mushroom. What is that? What they call it? The lion's mane, chaga, reishi.
Okay, yeah.
I
take
take
a mushroom blend.
I take a capsule every day.
Okay, so
but I take psilocybin probably 3 times a year.
Okay, if you take that capsule with, this is the Paul Stamets. Do you guys know Paul Stamets?
Mushroom hat.
Mushroom hat. Yeah. Okay, Paul Stamets. This is his protocol. If you microdose psilocybin mushroom between 0.1 to 0.5 grams, depending on your tolerance and how you like it. Like, I've pushed it all the way up to where I was at work and ate 1 gram, and I called that lift off. I was fuck, dude, I cannot be here right now.
Yeah.
And I'm supposed to weld all these fucking parts.
Yeah.
And I, like, put my welding hood on, and I'm like, no one can see me. Put my earbuds in, and I'm like, and then the weirdest thing is I start welding, and you're behind the light, you know? And you could I could go into the light and be like,
I am the
dab of puddle, and watch it, whoo, dink, woo, and then it's like
the best welds he's ever laid.
Yeah, except for it'd give me vertigo
because he's not breathing the whole time.
Anyways, oh my God. You take like 0.1 to 0.5 psilocybin mushroom with lion's mane. 3 times a week. He says 5 times a week. So Monday through Friday, take Saturday and Sunday off. And you do this for 90 days. And you will build whole new highways of neural pathways in your brain. Things that have been like neural pathways that are dead ends or like
breaking bad habits.
Or he explained it like a traffic jam.
They call it the default mode network.
Okay, yeah.
And so what they're saying is like your default mode network is all these these pathways that have been laid through your nervous system, and a lot of them don't serve you. But yeah, what you just said, you're comfortable with them because they are the pathway most traveled.
That's what
right?
It is. It's repetition.
I drive the same way to work every morning, so it's the same thing for these electrical signals going down your nervous system. And so what the psilocybin does is it helps break apart that default mode network so that those pathways can be relayed.
You think they can help with pain?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Jordan
perked up.
Put on your Grateful Dead t-shirt, buddy. We're going to fix your back.
We're going in.
High on cocaine.
He's got a nice rocking chair. I mean,
also, the one thing that people need to know about mushrooms, because they are so taboo, I guess.
I'm scared of the mental thing of like, oh, you're going to go crazy. If that's in your family, all of a sudden you're going to go ape shit and just...
Just like when they told you if you smoked weed, you would jump on the piano and see dragons flying.
Turns you into a homosexual.
Your dog talk.
Well, my dad smoked weed my whole life, so I was never worried about that. But would always freak out when I smoked weed. I always had these panic attacks that were massive.
Yeah, paranoia.
Super bad.
Weed has more paranoia than mushrooms.
Mushrooms is so different. You'll be like, what's
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
There's
What's
no
that?
There's no paranoia.
There's
with the
no
mushroom.
paranoia,
None
dude.
whatsoever. They're in the gun safe.
Okay.
Yep, you roll up a little one, you take it, and then the lion's mane is the helps the neural pathways. So, in my opinion, I've seen many studies of people like healing old trauma, healing PTSD, healing like repetitive behaviors that they've conditioned themselves to have.
Well, that's the heroin. That's why you see fun like results from ibogaine, the ayahuasca. It's like whether it's an experience you physically had, like walking down the street, or an experience you mentally had, but if they're both like impactful, it can change everything. You know, so yeah, it's weird that it does get like a bad reputation, but it's like also, you ever done MDMA, ecstasy? I mean,
It's like my wiener. You won't even feel it.
yeah. But I mean, they use it. It's so beneficial. It's
Two
like
conversations going on in parallel. Sorry, guys.
You're good. You take it normally as like a party thing. And it's like you have such good nights with your friends and you have meaningful conversations. But no one ever takes it normally and uses it as a tool, like in therapy, like with a shaman or a therapist, someone holding presence and holding court and helping you through this.
I'm going in 2 weekends for that.
For MDMA?
For a heart medicine ceremony.
Oh,
For ayahuasca or MDMA?
No, for MDMA.
Can I come and bring glow sticks?
It's not like that.
so hang on.
right?
You're saying MDMA and heart medicine are synonymous? Okay. The ceremony I went to a little over a year ago, heart medicine, I think he called it white lily, and it was some sort of flower. I don't think it was.
It's sassafras.
Okay.
That's the flower that it's coming from.
Oh, so it was an MDMA experience.
It is, but it's
that was
not
the one-
MDMA. It's coming from not black market. It's coming from.
Oh, it's coming from Brazil.
Yeah, I know.
From
or
the rainforest.
Not I know, but I'm saying like it's coming from a natural substance.
What's
Yes, it's-
sassafras? I like sassafras.
Yeah,
Sassafras.
It's a tree.
It's a tree, and you ingest a flower off it, or you smoke it,
I don't know exactly how they do it.
There is a
and that's the heart.
there's like an alchemist type preparation.
What does it do to you?
It opens your heart chakra.
Dude? It was
Okay. Do you
Kozak,
feel-
it changed my life? And I don't say that lightly. I went from
Was that mixed with ayahuasca, or you just
No.
did
No.
that
No,
separately?
it's not a psychedelic. It's just its own thing.
Yeah.
it,
Huh.
It, oh God, I don't even know.
It's
how to,
natural
I don't know how to
molly.
put words to it.
What is this?
Really?
Natural
Sassafras.
Yeah, sassafras.
The spice?
Yes, but it's not the spice. But same tree, same plant.
Like I said, there's
Are you
a,
thinking saffron?
No. I'm thinking sassafras.
Sassafras.
like root beer?
But yeah, it blasts your heart chakra open,
Yes.
and you will feel love that you've never
At
felt.
Kozak, I
love
went into
before.
this an atheist, and when he says it blasts your heart chakra open, I can tell you 100% I agree.
So you feel it like an MDMA or an ecstasy kind of thing? Like it's
I don't know because
that-
I've never done like street drugs other than
yes,
marijuana.
but
Let's go out to my truck.
Much less rolling. Like the thing
Yeah,
is
yeah,
that
yeah.
the street drugs is just there's
Well, it's
no
mixed,
Yeah, that's what I
dude.
mean.
Yeah.
It's not just
It's-
straight.
Yes.
And I don't give a fuck who it is. They say even the straightest of straight on the streets isn't the same as this. So there's no like the crack feeling, right?
Yeah,
the
yeah,
tweaker feeling.
This is
that,
made by a medicine man in
Yeah.
a jungle somewhere who's chanting around a fire while you know what I mean.
Yeah, but
and-
so is ayahuasca, but a blast.
Right, but it's not made
Yeah,
by.
but that's
a,
different.
it
Ayahuasca
is
is
different,
to blast open your chakra system.
So everything gets exposed and open and
Whoa.
cleansed.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is your heart
Just
blast open.
Yeah.
So with ayahuasca, because they're all open, it's completely different than when the other ones are in a normal state.
Sensory overload.
And then this one gets open because we're still here. We're still present.
Yeah.
When you go to the moon, you can have your heart chakra fucking open as much as you want. It's different.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. It's like it blew down all those walls you put up around your, like 10 years of war, right? Put up some walls around my heart, and it just fucking smashed them. Like not even, at first it felt like a,
You need another?
they were cracking a little bit, and then it's just, and that's, I've never heard anyone explain it as your chakra was opened, but that's actually the best way to explain what it felt like.
Yeah, because in that, being that it's open, is you could be like, for instance, I'm going to go to a ceremony. There's going to be music. There's going to be drum, like, drum circle. There's a shaman there. There's a facilitator. But in that state, like if you were to take something like this and then go to do something where you could be hurt, like emotionally hurt, it could be so powerful, like could really fuck somebody up.
Yeah.
There's a reason why we can
Close
we
off
can
your
block things. We have shields
Yeah.
because, like, when I get done with the ayahuasca ceremony, one of the first things they say is before you go back out into the world and start navigating, go home and take like an Epsom salt bath or apple cider vinegar to root yourself back in, because you're fully
Everything's open still. You need
and people's fucking
sensory
energy.
overload.
You might. It's too much. It's too much. You might fucking be in the grocery store and all of a sudden have a mental breakdown.
Yeah.
I'm really glad.
They say that's why
we had
painters would have issues, because they would put so much of their art and heart and everything they have into their art, and it would be open to people to see, and that would fuck with them.
Oh, that would
severely.
fuck with your mind.
Because
Like
that's
a
their
Van Gogh.
emotional outlet.
Yeah.
Go cut off your ear because
You
you're
do
so
crazy.
fucked
I
up.
mean, but not just him. There's tons of
Yeah,
artists
yeah.
but it was just like that's pouring everything you have onto a fucking canvas, and then
Also, most starving artists aren't completely with it.
You were gonna say something. You were gonna say, "I'm really actually." You said, "I'm actually really glad you."
Fuck.
sorry.
What were we talking
I'm an
We're
asshole.
talking about blowing the heart chakras up, and then the ceremony of being, like at the grocery store, being completely vulnerable. And
I was
and
really
not
glad.
grounding.
Yeah. I was really glad that we stayed an extra night in the house where we did this. Like, it was just an Airbnb, and this veterans group travels, right? And so we had it for an extra night. I think it was an accident. And so Dave and I were like, fuck. I was like, I don't want to go get on like, you're coming out of ceremony in the morning, and it's like 3 hours later, they're like, all right, bye.
Yeah.
Like, well, what? We're supposed to go get on I-5 and like drive.
Go back to real life.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, what the fuck?
No. It's being a human's weird, man.
Yeah. So we had this Airbnb house out in the middle of nowhere. And we're like, oh, let's just stay one more night here so that we can like fucking chill out. And
Yeah.
I'm so glad we did that. And that same group is coming through again this year. So I'm going to go back again. And same thing. I was like, hey, can we make sure we get that house for an extra night? Because I get the thought, like looking back on it now, the idea of coming out of that, sleeping a little bit, and then just having to go like jump in my car and drive back into normal life, that would have fucked me up, I think.
Dude,
I actually don't think that 24 hours was enough. I think you should spend a week.
I think so too. Yeah. The integration is a big deal.
Yeah.
Dude, this one time, this dude was like, our integration at the ceremony that I go to starts at like 9 and is over between 11 and 12, depending on how big the group is. And this one guy's like, hey, can I actually go first? Because I have a job I need to go to.
Oh, shit.
And I'm like, no way,
He's
dude.
doing ayahuasca, then getting up and going to work?
Yeah.
Wow.
But the thing is that it was his first time. And all I can think is, bro, you don't understand. When you leave this love bubble right here and you get in your car and all of a sudden you start driving, you're going to be like, whoa, this is weird. And you're going to start revisiting this whole thing that you just went through that doesn't ever go away. And then you're going to get to like your real life shit and you're going to be like, this is fucking weird. It's weird, dude. Yeah. I remember even like talking to Vanessa before she had done it and me coming home and me like, I'm blasted wide open and I'm like really loving her. And she's like wanting to get all this fucking goats done and the kids. And,
chores.
and I'm like, wait a minute.
I just want to talk to you for a minute.
And come here. And she's like, I don't have time for that. And I remember just being like, like daggers right in my fucking heart.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, even things like, I remember this way more when I first started as a younger man, but you smoke weed, the weed wears off, but it's like you're still like perceptive. You still feel more, you kind of have just a higher perception of the people around you, the awareness around you, and like it can create like awkward situations and stuff. But I think, yeah, you do certain things like that, and it makes you more vulnerable. It makes you more aware. It makes you more cognizant of just the surroundings around you. And it's weird how certain drugs will do that, whereas like alcohol, you don't care what's around you. Like it blanks out everything. But whereas drugs will amplify things, and you know, you can do too much, it can be overwhelming, but at the same time, sometimes it's nice to get overwhelmed and have those epiphanies or realizations, but it's a weird line to toe.
I mean, look at Paul Stamets. He ate 25 grams of mushrooms, forgot how to stutter, hung out in a tree for a long period of time, and has been good ever since.
Yeah.
All because he went way over the threshold.
Are you a McKenna guy at all?
I know about him. Here's the thing, Kozak. Now you're going to get me into the fucking conspiracy theory shit.
You're fine. Go. I don't care.
Yes, I am. There's a lot of people, okay? There's a lot of people who I think have very good information, but they also they've been working with and for the CIA and all this different fucking shit. And so I don't know where the waters have been muddied.
Yeah.
So my answer is yes, I am.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to say I'm fully in on the fucking stoned ape theory.
No.
Is that Terrence McKenna? Is he the
Yeah,
stoned
that's
guy?
his.
Okay.
But I think he was interesting in like his ideas of how drugs affected culture and his relationship to technology, because like he died in like the mid 90s or something, but his what he thought the internet was going to become and like his little proliferation speeches and stuff, I find it very interesting. But he just seemed to have an expanded conscious.
Yes,
and he was a guy that was a proponent of mushrooms and just
yes,
he was an interesting cat to read.
Very, and I always talk about the book Brave New World.
Yeah,
the author of that
Huxley.
is Aldous Huxley,
Huxley,
and he's the one who wrote Doors of Perception.
Yeah,
and that's all about another psychedelic mescaline trip out.
Shit, that's the Doors,
right?
right?
That's the whole thing. So, and if someone asks me like, well, what do you think Aldous Huxley? I think he should probably be hung in Times Square. However, there's many things about him that I have learned that he has
that are interesting.
Yeah, and you can learn shit from even the most evil person. Mm-hmm. I mean, I look at
Hitler had good leadership qualities.
He had a lot of good shit.
He had an evil mind, but his leadership qualities were pretty fucking sound.
Okay, well, you said that. Hitler, I'm going to say, was also the first guy to go green because he captured all the shit and the piss of everyone, and he captured it to create methane. And he thought if we get cut off from oil, which every war, oil is the biggest thing, we can burn propane and methane and turn it into that.
See, that's high-level strategery.
Right? Yeah. So he was the first guy to go green back in the
He did all sorts of shit.
Jesus Christ. So anyway, psychedelics.
I mean, but it's weird. People can be pieces of shit, but you can have a good idea. Doesn't mean it's not a good idea. It's just you're still a fucking piece of shit.
Yeah.
The other thing I find interesting is that through these psychedelics and these spiritual enlightenments and these journeys that these people have gone on or have written about since the fucking beginning of time, really, whether it's ancient indigenous cultures or all the way up until present day, whether it's McKenna or fucking Aubrey Marcus or Joe Rogan or Jordan
Modern
Peterson,
philosophers.
modern philosophers. or Aldous Huxley for that matter.
Yeah.
Charles Manson. Like there's something about it that I'm going to say the powers that be, they know about it because they do it. They write books about it. They've been doing these things for a long time.
Yeah.
So it goes back to that power thing I was talking about earlier, is I truly believe they use these psychedelics and these rituals in sacred geometry, in spellcraft, in witchcraft, as black magic, as modern day sorcery. And I am wondering if the way that you beat black magic sorcery is through white magic, rather than using this black magic and these programs and operations and fucking crazy shit that they have been doing for God knows how long on the human population, with usually without consent, until it's 50 years later and they're like, oh, by the way, we were giving you guys syphilis for a while, but
They consent to build the pyramids?
right?
I don't think so.
No. So my point is that as they do these things to manipulate us, to deceive us, to invert history, rewrite history, tamper genetics and the natural default way of the human mind working, I believe that we can use these psychedelics, these spiritual enlightenment, and all of these things for the positive side to create higher vibration, to create more love, more harmony, connection, trust, respect, and sovereignty, freedom, self-reliance. Because I don't think that violence beats sorcery, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Because it's based off of hate and evil. And that's what it feeds off of.
Can't be
And it reminds me of like trying to shoot a ghost. Like, do you do jujitsu on the ghost? Do you shoot the ghost? Do you stab the ghost? No. The way that you fight the ghost is you confront the ghost and you use your intention and you say,
Shine a light on
you say, hey, you are not allowed here. This is my presence. This is my terrain. You have to address it in a different way.
Yeah.
And I believe that most of the weapons not all of them. There's clearly real fucking physical destruction, but a lot of the weapon is mind weapon of black magic sorcery to me.
Well, if you get a society to collapse, you don't have to come in with tanks
No.
because everything's already burned to the ground.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And that's what feels weird at the moment in this culture, in this world that we live in, is that things feel so iffy and off and feel like there's manipulation. Absolutely. Makes sense. Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I think
So-
we should call a pee break.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's do
Yeah.
it. So I've been
back.
growing my own tobacco, and some of them are like the tobacco that grew on the Huga culture with the electroculture rods grew into two. So it comes out of the two. Each stalk is probably that thick around. The leaves are probably that long and that wide.
God, you
like
got bigger leaves than I
Louisville
do.
sluggers with some.
But here's the deal, is what I found. So not all of them are like that. I have a bunch planted, but most are not like that. Most are still fucking tiny. Yep.
Yeah. That's what I have.
So if you noticed, maybe yours is different, but I noticed that mine is maturing from the bottom up. Mm-hmm. So it's turning yellow on the bottom leaves.
Is it flowering on top? Because that's the biggest question
Yeah, but
I have.
you got to
'Cause
take that off unless you want. Now it's too late. Just
you
let
wanna
it go to
cook it.
seed.
Yeah.
Each one of those
Just
pods.
those seeds are the seeds you gave me.
Yeah.
So that tobacco, it's gone past when you let it to flower. You constantly rip that flower.
Yeah,
gay tobacco.
I always am pinching the flower off as soon as it goes because I want all of my energy to be going into the leaves.
Yeah.
And then it'll grow little suckers. Like you'll have the stalk growing up, and then you'll have the leaf growing out, and then at a 45-degree angle, another one will start growing, and you got to pinch that
So
off.
it's like a cola on a weed plant. It keeps growing up and up,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you just want to concentrate it into the leaves,
Into the
for
leaves.
the growth.
Yes.
Yeah.
However,
So
I did let some go to flower because then the flower goes to bud, and then each one of those buds will turn brown and dry off, and there's fucking 5,000 seeds in each one of those. So we should have tobacco for the rest of our lives.
Dude, this all came from 10 seeds you gave me, and I have a bunch of tobacco. But hang on. Okay, because I'm gardening with Cisco, because I let it flower, what about the leaves that I do have?
No, you can still have it. You can still just...
But does it lose like nicotine potency
I don't
and
think
stuff?
So. I think
it's just I'm
just
diminishing the size
it's
of
just
my
yield.
tobacco leaves.
Yep,
Okay.
because you're getting seed rather than...
So I'm
you're just
fruitful.
putting energy somewhere else.
It doesn't turn into soy.
No, it doesn't turn into soy. So,
not
but what I was
Bud Light.
getting at is I was saying, you want to know something fucked up, even though it's not fucked up, is I have picked some of the yellow leaves, let them dry, and one night so they're all dried, and I have like old man Sherlock Holmes pipe. So I packed a pipe, and I fucking hit this thing. And I'm not shitting you guys. I about went face first into the grass. I never smoked anything with so much power, dude.
Really?
Oh my God.
Have you guys watched How to Change Your Mind? It's a miniseries.
I started to. I didn't.
No.
The first psychedelic drug he uses is tobacco.
Really?
Yeah.
Dude, it was dark out, and I was standing in my pump house of my well pump. And I'm
A flash of light.
and I inhale in, and all of a sudden I blow out, and it was like, shoo. And all of a sudden I'm like, whoa. And it's like ringing in my ears, and it's like, and I'm like feeling really, really light, almost like levitating off of the ground. I take a deep breath, and it was like, whoosh. And I'm like grounded. I run inside, and I'm like, Vanessa, she's like, what? I'm like, I smoked.
Hit this shit, bitch.
She's like, what? I'm like, I smoked my tobacco. She goes, okay. I'm like, no.
Congratulations, sweetheart.
I think it's different than like a Marb Red or a Camel Light because I about just face planted into the fucking grass off of one hit. And she's like, really? I'm like, yeah. So I'm here to tell you, whenever you do try this and you smoke it, I need your opinion of like, have you ever had something so fucking strong to where I don't know, dude. This is bizarre. But I want to make sure that because I chew, I would prefer chewing over the smoking, even though I do enjoy smoking. There's something about smoking the fucking pipe that I really like.
I love a cigar. I love a
I did
pipe.
a path of smoking out of a pipe.
Hey,
for a while.
microphone is key.
Yeah, sorry, guy.
But I would like to make my own chew. And Mark's going to have his apple cider press.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm going to go and get fresh apple cider from him.
Yeah.
And then he also has honey or molasses.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to go back home and I'm going to put those together. The apple cider and
Dude,
the honey.
can I be the first guy to buy a can
Yes.
of dip off of you,
Yes.
Tyler?
Yes. It has
to be a
I'm
bag.
putting in an order for a walk
Yes.
right now, dude.
It's going to be a mason jar.
Yeah. Oh, even
And
better.
I'm going to fucking mix it all up and boil it down until it's like a thick
rendered?
syrup. Yeah.
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 And then I'm going to chop up the tobacco leaves and I'm going to fucking mix it in there. And then I'm just going to pack mason jars full of it.
Okay, so I have
Put a little sugar in there.
Yeah. But it's from the molasses or the honey.
Or the honey. So when you pick the leaves, do you wait for them to start to turn yellow, or
Yes.
you do them when they're green? Because mine are all still green. I'm harvesting a lot of things.
Wait till
and
they
they're
turn
still-
yellow because here's the deal about tobacco that I found.
Mm-hmm.
It's full of ammonia. Okay.
Really?
Yes. It's so poisonous, dude. It's so poisonous.
I know why you went down outside the well house.
Yes, it's very poisonous. So what happens is as long as it's green, there's chlorophyll in it. And the chlorophyll, if the chlorophyll's in it, then the ammonia's in it. The ammonia's with the chlorophyll. Or
So you
I don't know
want-
if it's with it, but they're like together.
It's yeah.
So as long as there's no green in the part that you're ingesting, eating, smoking, whatever,
I ate a piece
You're
of
good.
the green
And
leaf.
you'll know because, I've eaten a chunk of it too.
Yeah, I felt okay, but maybe I had diarrhea.
Yeah, no, probably you didn't eat enough of it. You have to have more.
Yeah.
But I know on some of the leaves that still were like kind of light brown, but a little bit yellow still. If you smoke those, it does this thing in your lung where like it zaps the oxygen out of your lung. You'll be like, you like can't
Got
get
a
a breath.
hole
So
in
then
your
I
lung?
looked up, and that's the ammonia. And so
Really?
it's like, it's ammonia will like it sucks the oxygen out. It's weird. It's
And
like
also give you chemical.
So I guess that's
Yeah,
why
so
when you see
Using bleach and fucking whatever in bathtubs.
Yeah.
Right? That was killing those ladies back in the day.
Yep.
So I guess that's why when you see or you get tobacco or you see videos of like big cigar rolling plants, it's all just those ultra brown leaves.
Yeah,
and
because
it's not
all
like
cured.
you pick green weed and you dry it. It's green.
Yeah.
But you want it to cure in that brown, that late harvest state, like a fall leaf falling from the tree.
Yes.
So you're plucking these as they're turning brown, or are you letting them dry out and they turn brown on hanging?
It depends. Like, if they're already turning brown and they're like yellow, I pick them.
Yeah.
And then I just go put them on a rack. I find it easiest just to stack them together. They're really sticky. I don't know if you've noticed, but
I don't have stickiness yet. Other things, but
Okay,
not
nah.
the tobacco.
they're fucking sticky.
Really?
Ridiculously sticky. It drives me nuts.
Maybe
don't
I
even
let
like
the
to touch 'em.
flowering go too big.
Nah,
so
they'll still be sticky. I have a bunch flowered too.
yeah.
Have you
really-
picked any of them?
Yeah. Not off the plant. Like I said, I ate that
No,
piece, but they're all still green.
If you picked things off of the plant, your fingers would be fucking sticky.
Maybe it does have a little bit of a residue.
On the bottom side of the leaves, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it's sticky. And you'll notice because like any dirt or dust or bugs
Yeah.
be stuck on the leaves.
Yeah.
It's like a fly trap.
A little mouse trap.
Yeah. So, anyways, as long as it's brown and you can tell, like I said, if you smoke it and it has this weird fucking thing that it does, there's still ammonia in it. If you smoke it and it's like smooth and it tastes like really good, nice tobacco, hey, you're golden. But there is a fermentation process that you can do to make it last forever, like they do with cigars and shit. I'm not a professional. I'm just figuring it out. Like I said, I'm smoking
but how fun-
ammonia.
I'm a
still.
hot.
How fun is that going to be when you can roll a cigar,
It's gonna be rad.
dude? Are you fucking kidding?
I think more the idea that Stanaway's homemade dip comes in mason jars.
Oh, that's going to be the greatest.
Do you
But
know what that
that's-
would go for on the internet? Where you should actually trademark that.
Etsy?
Like yeah. No. I mean, like it'll be like the cool thing to have like
Oh,
a
and
mason
a
jar
mason
dip
jar
in your
full of-
fridge.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then you start selling them in those little ramekin ones.
The little baby ones. So
Yeah.
they can-
People are trying to pack it.
But that is kind of the fun thing about like a garden is life, and it provides like that. My wife does so much for the garden. I help out. I'm the man. I provide.
Yeah.
I pay the bills and I do that kind of stuff. And it's like, but she really does a lot of the work for it. And
We know.
this year, this year has been like an awesome year. Every night, all I do is I grill peppers and I grill meat. And the amount of peppers, I mean, I have my tomatoes, I got my peas, I got all my good stuff, but this is global warming's been awesome, dude. My pepperoncinis are so fucking big this year.
Yep.
All my peppers. And it's just been, it's fun because it's just, what do I do with this? Do I can this? Do I make this into pepperoncinis for an amazing Italian sandwich? Do I just grill them? And it's the most delicious thing I've ever had.
Yeah.
But it's fun. And you walk out there, like you get home from work and you're like, this has been a nuts kind of day. And you go out in your garden and it's a little bit of a reset and you get to check in on things, and what you're monitoring is a slower pace of life.
Oh, yeah.
And when you
It's real life is what you're
yeah,
monitoring,
and
yeah.
so that pulls you away from your busy day. And so you just do a quick pass through, and it's a
Just walking
home.
through and taking your tour
yeah.
was enough for me to feel a little bit of that. And because
Where?
at your house. Where
Yeah.
I went over to Stanaway's house, and he walked me through the garden, just like going over to your house and walking through the garden and then going through the woods, and you pointing out every little thing that's growing. Like the fact that you know all these little plants that are growing, and like, oh, this is this.
Tyler's so much. Tyler's the man.
It's nuts. But I mean, yours is very much like.
I had the same feeling when I went over to Kozak's. I was like, oh, it's just nice here. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's Kazakhstan.
Yeah.
I have my domain.
Fuck yeah, you do.
Mike Zedong and Kazakhstan.
Yeah, Emperor of Kazakhstan.
But that's what life is supposed to be about. Isn't that the American dream? Having your little
that's
piece
the
of
American
serenity,
dream. But then you
those
get into,
things that you pursue that just bring you happiness. That's what we're all striving for.
But it's crazy because, like, you guys are doing it. And so many people have houses, and they
yeah,
get
but
to,
you
they,
have
they-
a house. You have
You know what? I don't want to get too deep into personals, like what's going on right now, but I'm about to move from suburbia back out into the woods, and I'm feeling pretty fucking good about it.
And I'm feeling pretty fine. And that's a great mindset because because you can be free.
Yeah. Oh, you're going
And
to
being
feel
free is like I keep
Back
saying
out, like,
it's a lot of responsibility.
It's a long drive after work. It's a long drive in the morning, but stepping out of the truck in the afternoon, getting back there, and just able to.
And you're gonna find the hardship, right? You're gonna find the winter, and you're gonna find. But then that's also gonna be
you live in
beautiful
the
thing.
season.
I was just going to
That's
say,
gonna
I
be a
think I'm going
nice
to prefer
thing.
the hardship.
Yeah,
I think I'm going to not want to come back into
No, dude.
civilization.
He's gonna be looking for fucking wool. You know.
Well, we were just outside just saying that. It's like Jordan and I just came back from a very fun elk hunting trip.
So fun.
And it's like
Let's get into
you
that.
come back to work and it's like, dude, I was just where nature was nature. God, I was in God's country. And now I'm working for the man. And it just
You're in Klaus Schwab country.
You know what that is?
yeah.
Exactly.
It hurts. We should all
That's
go on a
that's a-
backpacking trip.
Yes,
We should get a group of us and go on.
It's
a
called deer
backpack
hunting, and we're going
During
October
there.
14th.
Yeah. And that's there you go.
You should
There it
come,
is.
Tyler, if you want.
October 14th.
Yeah, you don't need a gun or a
15?
license if you don't want. You just come.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me put it. Let me see what's going on. If I don't, where are we going?
Mountains.
In the woods.
Okay.
I don't
We'll
wanna
tell
have
you,
to edit
we did this before, and there's so much editing. It was like 45 seconds would go by, and it's like, and that's why it's going to be the best place ever with macadamia nuts. And
Okay.
you're like,
Well, fuck
what?
it. We're going backpacking. That's all I need to know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dude.
For how many days?
4 or 5.
It depends how long you want to hunt for. I mean, hunting season's a week, but and you could probably get
I think
your
I took
hunter ed
Monday,
by
Tuesday
then.
off. So Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday,
Yeah, so head up Friday after work,
Yeah.
Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Yeah.
and we can. And I can take. I run the project, so I can take as many days off as I need to.
Yeah.
I don't. But
No, I'm trying to share my honey holes. Like
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
well, okay. So let's get into it a little bit because we went to one. We went to the original spot.
this hurts my heart to
And
hear
it-
this.
Well, so it's
Hang
just
on.
like
oh fuck. Hang on. Before you get too deep into this, what was our little segue there? Because there was something I wanted to bring up, and then we got sidetracked by backpacking and hunting.
we were talking about the gardens and the gardens being great, and you moving out
Life,
to
American dream.
Moving out to the woods, not wanting to come back in. Lost it.
well, hey,
That's small dick energy.
It's cruising altitude.
That's cruising out the dude right there, dude.
so we went on the hunting trip. We didn't get anything, but that's okay. We still got what we needed.
You don't get anything in Washington State with a general tag.
Well, you do, but it's
You need them.
it's tough.
2 weeks.
It's tough
3
because
weeks.
you're pulled by your job, and that's what's tough about it. Because I truly think if we would have gone out there, found the spot that we were in, and stayed out there in the woods, because we still went back to camp, and I think if we would have gone and done used that camp as like a resupply and then stay out in the woods and had a week out there, I think we'd all be
Fine.
packing meat back.
Yes.
But the first spot we went, realized that there wasn't anything happening. That's where Kozak's saying, like, yeah, it's heartbreaking because you find these spots and you find your heart wants to be there because you've had this, and it's like, oh, this experience
Animals
I've had
over
here.
the past 20 years in this spot apparently have just been out of control, and I stumbled upon it in the end, and it was just animals every day, animals bugling, elk mad at you, elk wanting to fight, elk wanting to fuck, elk wanting to lead their harem.
Which did you pick?
So fuck.
Fuck, marry, kill. Yeah, fuck, dude. This is how we get an animal.
But that's the thing, like we're pulled by time restraints, because if we would have stayed there for a week, who knows? It may have lit up, and just all of a sudden it's on fire, and we don't know, and we will never know because we're not out there right now. But where we were at the time, it wasn't working. So we made the call, Kozak brought us to another spot over there, and it was kind of slow, but it was probably one of the coolest, picturesque places I've ever been in Washington. And I've been in a lot of places. It felt like it was like, this is. I was trying to take as many pictures as I could.
Looks like Alaska, dude. I say it every time.
It looks like Alaska, but like it's Washington, and it is. And it looks like Alaska because when people,
angry I wasn't there.
I'll show you pictures, and it was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Well, I posted pictures on our Instagram. So it was
on
just
yours or on the Enlightened
on the
Neanderthals one?
Enlightened and Neanderthal.
Okay.
But it was just we went out there and it was like, oh, this is what I was waiting for. Like this, because I like
we started with a high desert hunt,
Yeah.
and then we end like high desert where the desert grasslands meets the tree lines heading up. And then the second one was like,
mountains.
Let's go to the top of the Cascades, and I will show you where the animals are.
And
this is my honey hole.
Yeah, and we hiked, what was it, 7 miles?
Mm-hmm.
7 miles up, and there wasn't a lot below. And then as we went up, fired off a call, and they started calling back. And it was just like, holy
It's
shit.
like the sonar going out. Boom.
Oh,
Yeah, and then they're
not just
firing back.
sonar, crashing, booming. It's
Oh,
thick.
charging through the
You
brush.
have
Yeah.
25, 30, 50 yards, 60 sometimes
Yeah.
around you, depending in the large timber. But then there's always vegetation and stuff.
bushes.
And
I'm
you will
conscious.
hike through the woods, and you're like, there's nothing out here. And it's like, Jordan, give a bugle. And you hear boom, 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 boom. And you're like, hunting's on, my friend.
Yeah.
And it just lights off in that
I'm so
season.
fucking angry I was not with you guys.
Yeah, it was it was
And
some of
you
the,
still want to go somewhere else next year.
Yeah.
yes, because
what's
and the reason is because of the laws.
Oh, okay. Because you had the spike only business.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Eastern Washington is tough. I like to hunt.
What if we
Western
take a
Washington.
hacksaw and just cut them off real quick?
We talked about it.
Everything's been said.
We were like
so many
rocks. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like in Eastern Washington was beautiful.
Yes, it is.
And there's a lot of like where very much where you grew up. You know, it's that same kind of feel. It was dusty, and we're getting and that's fine. I got no problem with that. But I'm used to being in like
the loam soil,
the woods,
the
Large timber.
the rainforest.
Yeah. So we get up to so we start going. We find a bowl, and I don't mean like a bowl like a elk bowl, but we found like So there's this big bowl that we hike into, and all of a sudden, he's like, "Hey, go ahead and call." And I was like, "Hey, it seems a little early. Okay, whatever." And they start firing off, and it's like, "Oh shit, we're in them." All right, and then we start keep going, working our way up, and now we're like a little bit further up this bowl where like the call will project out, and there's like 2 or 3 of them in here, and they're firing back, and then all of a sudden they start just talking amongst themselves, and it's like, oh, we just did that. We went in there, and I am talking to an elk.
Instigated it.
Yeah, and these things are going off, and then we ended up seeing a big bull. It was a good sized bull, and it's always that fun thing where it's like, okay, we're 4 foot apart, maybe 10 foot apart. And my experience of it was I saw this bull stand up, but if you're a couple feet that way, you didn't necessarily see the same thing I saw. So we all have this different interpretation of what just went on. But we're piecing it all together. And then it's like, that was a 300-inch plus bull. It was just a massive bull like this, stood up and like turned and started running down. And I just get a glimpse of this big rack that's running down. And like, I mean, we're looking at probably an 1,100-pound animal, a 1,000-pound animal, or 1,000-pound animal. And then another one goes running off in the other direction. And it's just like, this is fucking nuts. We're like, all right, well, do we chase it? Well, just keep moving up a little bit further. And then all of a sudden we find another meadow. And it's like, holy shit, like this is where I'd be if I was a bull. And then we kind of get up there and sneak into this meadow, and I have a video of it, and Kozak's like, he's at point and he's walking in, and I'm kind of staying back, and we get out there and check this place out, and there's no bulls, but it's a nice natural grassy like wallow. There was a couple wallows in the middle of this like field, and it's just like, whatever, put a field in the middle of the woods. And just like, this is where they want to be.
Yeah.
And then we're like, all right, well, let's give it another call. And one fires off like 200 yards into the woods. And it starts coming at us. And then we're like, oh, shit.
Now what do we do?
Yeah. And then it's a scramble to like figure out a tactic. And then like, that's kind of the nice thing is like, first time us hunting bull or elk together, and then like realizing, okay, well, maybe we fucked up on this a little bit, so now we can do this, and like the teamwork that goes into that. And like,
I think I've said this before on the recording, is that I'm more interested in the team tactics than I am in being the guy who fires the arrow.
Well, I also have to say I've done a lot of shooting and with Jordan because of you, and you've been so kind to bring us into this.
You're talking about archery?
No, like
just shooting
guns.
Oh.
He was my little battle buddy in the fucking,
right.
And it's like, I know how he kind of moves and works a little bit. And we start doing hand signals far away, and it's like, everyone gets lost because we don't have a designated thing. But it's like, we have a bit of rapport, and it seemed to have been working out well hunting. But that's
a real deal. That's legit. I was just listening to...
Dude, I went. You would be super proud. We came up to something, and I'll go,
oh, you gave him linear danger.
yeah.
And Mike went, what the fuck does that mean?
Yeah.
No, he's like,
I walked off.
eat shit, dude.
Oh, God damn it.
Sorry, I did it again. The hand signals in the middle of punting.
Working together with a partner.
And understanding their body language and just knowing their movements. So I was just listening to Sean Ryan's latest podcast with one of the GRS guys who fought in Benghazi. And that's the program I worked on in the CIA. And he was talking about how difficult it's not really an assessment and selection. It's more like a just show up and perform, and either you have what they're looking for or you don't. And it was a hard 3-week course or challenge, whatever you want to call it. But there was an element of my buddy Dave, Fireman Dave, who was on whatever episode that was, like 5 or whatever. He and I had been in the same platoon in 2nd Ranger Battalion. So anytime the two of us were hitting the kill house together, it was like real smooth and fluid and whatnot. And the instructors caught on at some point, but having that familiarity with another person where you just kind of understand their movements, their body language. And the other thing I remember is that walking through the woods at night with nods on, or out in the desert or wherever we were up in the mountains, you could tell, I could look at someone from behind and see their silhouette, because you just see like different shades of green, right? The sky's real bright, the stars are bright, and then your friends are just like black silhouettes almost. We knew each other from our silhouettes. And to this day, I still recognize Greg from behind, like, not so much. Oh. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh,
that ass.
Yeah. Like, I know his silhouette. Like, if he's facing away from me, I know the silhouette of him. And I know his gait and how he walks.
Yeah.
Well, that's something in the woods, man. Like, you're walking in semi-thick stuff, and your buddy's walking 20, 30 yards away. And it's like, one person can be at a super fast gait, and someone else is at a slow gait. But you kind of learn the person you're hunting with or the person you're walking with, and you learn to use as a team, and it's just familiarity, with that person.
Yeah.
You're learning them.
And so to plug Training Northwest just a little bit, that's kind of what we were trying to push with the rifle camp, is I was hoping guys would come out in like groups of friends, like, hey man, if you guys sign up, I'll sign up kind of deal. so that they would start to begin to have a little bit of that, where if you spend a lot of time together out doing that kind of stuff, you, like I said, you, whether it's athletics or running around on a flat range or humping a backpack around in the woods, you start to recognize, or even rolling, like, you know each other's styles when you roll, right? It's when you do these kinds of things together, you start to recognize each other, not just by visual, like light reflecting off your face. You start to recognize how they move, what their
patterns.
Exactly.
Well, it's also been scientifically proven. Like, I've talked about this on my podcast before. They did this study of you know what a Belgian horse is?
Yeah.
They're a fucking huge, like bigger
Like
than Clydesdale.
Clydesdale style.
Yeah,
big.
Yeah.
They're the
Bigger.
ones with the huge necks that are like,
Big ass draft horses.
Yeah.
And they said that, I'm not going to get the numbers exactly correct, but the people listening will get the fucking message.
We don't.
Okay.
Facts don't matter.
So-
it's all heart.
Yeah, this is heart.
Yeah.
It's the moral of the story.
Yeah. Exactly, buddy.
They take one Belgian draft horse and it can pull 4,000 pounds. Okay. Then they take 2 draft horses and it can pull 10,000 pounds. Okay.
Jesus.
So it added an extra 2,000 in there when they put 2. Okay.
2 horses can pull 10,000
So,
pounds.
These horses.
Let me.
Okay. Hold on 1 second. Then
Jordan.
if the 2 horses are friends, they can pull like 14,000 pounds. If the 2 horses are brothers or friends that have been raised since birth together, it was like 20,000 pounds. So
They get in stride together, break
the higher
inertia and friction. Yeah.
the more connection, bond, and familiarity and love that the 2 beings have, they can exponentially increase their capabilities by more than if I can lift 100 pounds and you can lift 100 pounds. But together, we don't know each other. We can lift 400, but the more we bond together, we can actually lift 1,000.
Now imagine the Snohomish County Sheriff walking into Greg's gym and saying you have to shut down.
Yeah, no, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
It's not going to work. It's not going to work. You have a fucking...
It's
It's just not going to work.
The sheriff one.
Can you imagine that headline?
It wouldn't be the sheriff.
Sheriffs get shut
Sheriff's
down.
Department wiped out.
No, it's going to... It would have to be something way more like the fucking... One of those military SWAT rigs that show up or something, where they got the bulletproof fucking shields and
there is a matter of numbers where if they have more numbers, they just win.
yeah, yep.
Drone.
But
However,
We go
they're
above.
not all going to
you
go
didn't know
home.
you were in a fight.
They're not all going to go home.
No.
Some of them are going to lay there with us.
Oh, without question. Without question.
So, anyways, that was my moral of the story of rapport with you guys hunting.
So psychedelics.
Feeling, yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean that's 100% true. And
That actually does tie into psychedelics. Sorry to cut you off, but that energy connection amongst people, you actually, it's almost like the antennas get a little more fired up under the psychedelics, and you start to become aware of those connections amongst people. And people think that's woo-woo shit, but if you look at the universe and accepted chemistry and you know what holds 2 atoms together to form a molecule? Energy.
Yeah, energy.
Yeah. What keeps the nucleus together? The protons and the neutrons. Energy. What keeps the electrons from flying away off into space? Energy.
Valence shield.
Literally, our physical universe is held together. Its actual physical mass is fairly small compared to its space, right?
We're an energetic
and it's
being.
all these little miniature particles held together by fucking energy. So to say that organisms like human beings can't be connected by energy, what the fuck are we talking about?
Yeah.
Why is it that we accept that the very elements that make up our bodies are held together by energy, but we couldn't be?
Well, it's like you ever hear those things about people that go traumatic experiences together, whether it's a hijacking or like a 9/11 thing, and they could be married to someone else, but they go through such a traumatic event with a person, they divorce their spouses and they marry this person because one event that time space of you and the things around you, but what happened in that particular, you could be sitting in a grass field all day and nothing happens, or you could be in a tower collapsing, and it's the most impactful
so when
thing
you die,
of your life.
your brain releases, is it MDMA? So
Everything.
DMT.
DMT, sorry. Yeah, DMT. So I wonder if when you're having these extreme fears, experiences like a hijacking, if they're not having a DMT experience.
Well, especially with DMT.
And I also think that if you go, I think that you can.
Well, isn't that something that they do with couples therapy?
I was just going to say.
Some of that. But especially DMT, hang on, because you said that's naturally released for your brain. And if people go through extreme measures together, DMT gets released from your brain. But DMT is part of...
I don't know that
Let me say
does,
this
I'm
right.
guessing.
Hang on. Ayahuasca? Yes. So it's part of that. But what did they also want to call it before that? They wanted to call it telepathy, because when people originally did it, scientists then reported it. They said we all did post-ceremony, and I could feel I was thinking everyone's thoughts, but during the experience, I felt like we were all talking. So if you can put something like that into people, like a condition, a mindset, when you go through an experience, it releases a chemical that bonds you not only from your own physical manifestation of life and time space, but into someone else's.
Well, the next
you just got bonded for life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The one where it's
That's your new fuck buddy.
Go ahead.
No, you okay? So I know I've talked to Tyler. We went on Tyler's podcast, and I talked about the ayahuasca ceremony I went to, but I don't think I've told it on this one. Where the first night we did the heart medicine, and that was like
Salicipus? What's it called?
Sassafras.
Sassafras. I'm sorry. Yeah, bad memory.
at cruising altitude.
Cruising out there.
And then they followed that up with I think he said it was 60-40 mix of psilocybin and ayahuasca. And bro, I remember like taking my eye shades off.
Yeah.
And I could see above everybody sitting around the room. We're a little hippie drum circle, right? And you could see like this. It almost looked like a serpent, right? It's going above everybody's head, and somehow I just knew it's the energy, like it's connecting. It's
Quetzalcoatl,
yeah,
dude.
exactly.
Yeah, it's fine.
We're all connected in this room, and then I put my eye shade back down because, all right, it's all special operations guys, and so the energy in the room is very alpha male.
Yeah,
and it's like
heavy.
Oh, bro, dudes are swinging like I'm looking around. They're swinging fucking swords, and Dave's fucking shooting arrows at something off like that I can't see. And I was like, you know what? It's too much. And I put my eye shades back down, and when I put them back up later, one of the things the guide, I guess you would call him, had asked us, pre-ceremony is, what is your heritage? I was like, shit, I don't know. I'm like European mutt, like British, Irish, whatever.
Yeah.
And
white dude.
Yeah. But, some guys knew it. And so I'm sitting there and I look around and I can't see their faces anymore because they're wearing a war mask. Like Fireman Dave was wearing a helmet and nods. And I looked to my left, the guy there, he was Mexican, and he had on like an Aztec warrior, bone through the nose, big, like pointed, horns and shit. And across from me, dude was, like Swedish Nordic or whatever. And he had like a berserker mask with leather and rivets and steel, everything matched everybody's heritage. And I was like, wow, that's all right. Well, we're definitely having the hallucinations. And so the next morning at integration, I brought it up. I was like, I could see all your, like there was a point where I knew who was sitting where, but I could no longer see your face.
Yeah.
And actually at one point we went outside because we're starting to come out a little bit. And I was sitting out on the back deck, and I was like, I got to ask, who is this? Because I literally can't see your face through your war mask. And everybody else there's 13 of us, and we're going around the horn and integration. They're like, oh, yeah, I saw Mike's war mask too. What did it look? Oh, for real? What? And we're comparing notes, and we're like, holy shit, okay, 13 people saw the same war mask on the same person.
So is that a hallucination?
No, that's...
No.
Yeah.
No. And I want to go into that for a second because that is something about the DMT or these psychedelics is allowing you to expand your consciousness enough, or unlocking something, or taking the governor off. Like, I don't know exactly what's going on, but it's allowing you to get to the next, I would say, realm, the next realm up. Okay.
Yeah.
And in that realm is not the same as what we're in right now. This is the 3D realm, the realm of form and matter, which creates division and separation, because in order to have form and matter, there has to be a division and separation. Without, if everything was one, there would be no form or matter, right?
Time and space. And
but in that place, there is no form and matter, and there is no time. It's all one. Everything's connected. And that place is the same place that we've all been in when we've either daydreamed, we have meditated, and went from, say, me sitting, let's say we all start meditating right now, right here in the garage. We can get to a place.
Sorry to interrupt real quick. Did you go to one of those breathing clinics at Greg's gym?
No, I couldn't. I wish that I did.
Yeah.
I have to meet that guy.
Yes.
So we start meditating right now, and we're each our individual person. We're in a place. We're at somewhere. It's the certain time. But we can get to a point when we go deep enough inside and focus on our breath to where I go from sitting here in this chair to, I don't know, somewhere or nowhere. I go from Tyler as an individual, from somebody to I can go
just kind of be in
to nobody or
just
everybody or anybody.
around,
It goes,
yeah.
You can get to this next realm.
Okay. So okay. Oh, damn it. I don't want to divulge too much yet. A year ago, a mushroom experience with Dave, different than the ayahuasca journey. Different weekend. I was visiting him down in Bend, Oregon, and we took a little more. It wasn't a heroic dose, but it was probably close. I mean, it was more than a microdose. And so it's he and I and his woman. I don't want to say her name. And we're sitting in the room, and at some point, we're all chatting, and I realized that I don't know. It's not that I don't know who they are. They're very familiar, but I don't have names for them, and I don't have a name for me. And I started to think of the ego. They tell you the ego is like how you define yourself, right? So when you truly let go of your ego, how you no longer have, you can't. You have this file that's, Kozak has a file that's Mike. That's what he thinks of himself. So what happens if you delete that file?
Yeah, who is Mike?
Yeah, and imagine, literally, I was in the meat suit, right, with no name, no identification, no ideas about what this was, and it wasn't like an epiphany. It was just like, okay, now we're learning what an ego is. The ego is this file that I call Toby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
but the thing is like who that's like the little Toby, right?
Yeah.
That's what we just use to identify this. But your actual Toby is got to be a spirit or a soul. It's energy. And the reason why I say this is because
that's the intention that comes out through the. It's almost like this is a stereo, right? Like your meat suit is your speaker.
It is.
Yeah.
And the way that I can prove this to somebody is, well, I guess I can't actually prove it, but I can make pretty good sense of it, is that we could switch human bodies, okay? I'm going to be in Kozak's body. Kozak's going to be in my body. You and Jordan are going to switch, and we're going to sit right here,
Yeah.
okay? And it's going to take about a quarter of a second before...
Be like, hang on, that's Kozak. Yeah.
That's Tyler in fucking Jordan's body. That's Toby. Because because
a
your
signature.
spirit and your soul is
It's
not
those
the
patterns that you said the word patterns earlier.
Yeah,
it's
life
exactly
is
what
patterns.
it is. Well, no, it's you recognize a person's patterns.
Do you
But
think you
that's
would? You think
everything
you would
in
recognize
life.
that silhouette?
But a rock is
Yeah.
a pattern.
You
Well,
think you think that?
But there's I could walk down the driveway. I'd say, hey, who is this? And I could copy a gate, and you guys would be like, holy shit, that's great.
it's
But your
charade.
pattern
Charade,
recognition. A rock is a pattern. It is a pattern of molecules that exist for a couple million years, but then that pattern gets broken up. Everything you do to achieve a skill, you have to do it over and over. You're creating, like those mushrooms, to clear patterns. Sometimes in life you want to create patterns for success or to better yourself. Everything is pattern based. And that's what we all talk about, is learning these things. That's what the news. Oh, get rid of the cops. What's going to be the pattern? Oh, the pattern is going to be crime goes up. Everything is pattern based if you look at it, and that's kind of math.
Yeah.
But
In
when you look at like clearing your mental patterns and what you guys are talking about, having not done that with ayahuasca or DMT or mushrooms or anything like that, I think building a knowledge base, like, because I feel I've been super, super lucky in my life to have like all these people that have like kind of guided me and shown me like proper ways of doing stuff. And I haven't always latched onto those lessons and like actually taken them. It's like, I know it, I want to do it, but like for whatever reason, there's a mental block in my head and I'm not actually doing what I'm supposed to be doing. That's where I'm kind of curious if like going down the road of like doing ayahuasca would help break the pattern that I'm in and allow me to take all the lessons from.
No. I think it's about the person. Once again, Tyler said this at the very beginning. Everything can be a tool. It can be used for good or it can be used for bad. What it is I'm going to get hippy dippy, that chakra, that fire, that what's inside you, what you decide to do with those things you do.
You're both right. You can set an intention going in, and
That's
so
what I mean.
one of the things
That's
they
the
tell
whole point.
yeah. And at least the guide I went in with, he was saying some guys just come in here with physical, like they have so many physical injuries from the war, and they're like, I want to stop feeling pain.
You got one?
They're like, can you just heal? Like, can you do something for the pain in my shoulder?
Yeah.
He's like, and that's what they get out of the night is they get pain relief. And that apparently, again, it sounds hippie woo woo, but Johns Hopkins and Stanford are starting to document all this stuff, and it's real.
It's fucking real. And the part of it is because you talked about everything being energy. We are an energetic being having a human experience. We're not, like what I just said, we have something inside of us that's our,
Bro, you know what's
call
crazy?
it whatever you want.
Is Jen bought Nathan a set of like virtual reality goggles at a garage sale. I don't think either of them understood you can't just put them on and go into virtual reality.
Okay.
But it made me realize, like, and then we watched. Have you guys seen the movie or read the book Ready Player One? Yeah. It's a great book.
Awesome.
But it made me think, like, we could be in virtual reality right now, and we would never know.
Of course
like,
not.
because virtual reality at some point, if let's say that we are actually at the beginning, this is 2023. Eventually, in the future, VR will become so real, that nobody will be able to discern the difference.
Yeah.
So there is a complete possibility that we are in the VR right now. In which case, we should say, fuck the government. No quarter.
I don't think we're in VR yet. Because what's it called? The uncanny valley. Like when things are tried to make look humanistic, like robots, but you can tell there's something
what if we're
off.
just experiencing 2023 in VR?
Why would
Like,
we need
there's
to
a
have
program.
Neuralink,
Like
though?
this could be 2162.
Why would we?
And
the only reason I don't-
we are playing through 2023 in a virtual reality program.
The only reason why I don't think that we're in a virtual reality program yet is because of the war to attack our consciousness. and that they
They're still going after it.
This is why they need Neuralink, is because we're still at the point where we have our free will, we have our spirit. Even if you hold a gun to my head, we can be in North Korea, the most fucked up place, and they can have a gun to my head, but I still have a choice.
Even here's the
yes,
thing,
it can happen in VR.
If VR became so real that you didn't know the difference, like imagine, like okay, I realize I'm talking wild hypotheticals.
No, yeah, no, I get it.
Imagine that you are just an avatar of somebody 200 years in the future from now who's playing a simulation of 20. Like, hey, shit coming. Like, let's say that 200 years from now, it's known that 2020 to 2024 was fucking wild in America, and so there's a video game about it.
Yeah.
No, first,
You know what I mean?
You
Like,
could.
Everybody, you guys could laugh. You know what I mean? Listener, I hope you do laugh. But at the same time, it could be true and you would never know.
We wouldn't.
Right?
No, you could be in the Matrix, and the second you
It's
die,
one
all
of
of a
those
sudden,
wild,
it's,
like,
you're like, whoa, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I've gone through this many, many times. Am I in a simulation? Am I in a God's creation? Am I like, what the fuck am I? Who am I? What are we doing here? Why are we doing this? When did we get here? I have all those thoughts, and I've thought about them since I was a little kid. And I don't know the answer. Obviously, it's speculation. There's just something inside me that makes me believe that
here's another
really
like, total fucking stoner thought. We don't know who built the pyramids because we just assume they were built 7,000 years ago or whatever, and we have no real good way to describe
Rain would say
method,
otherwise.
the method that actually put them, you know what I mean, like to fit all those blocks together. So it's sort of acknowledged somewhat that the pyramids just predate history or recorded history. What if that's because it's just a game board written? You know what I mean? And before the avatars got injected onto the game board was built.
That's what I was going to say.
Okay, so there's certain...
they were just fucking
Here's
there?
some old
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
There is
just
things
programmed.
that have happened that make me feel like I'm in a video game, a simulation, where things spawn. Okay? Like, for instance, I posted on my Instagram at the beginning of spring. Somehow there's just a random turnip this big that spawned in clay that's 5 feet deep.
When you pulled it out, did a coin pop up?
Yeah, exactly. Underneath the cedar tree. And it's
Went
like,
down a green
that's weird.
tube.
And then there's this dude who a podcast farmer dude I listen to. He lives in New York. And he was talking about how he fucking built this food forest. And 5 years in, all of a sudden, like, these zebra butterflies started popping up. He's like, I've lived here my whole life. There is no zebra butterfly in New York. And all of a sudden, I start planting pawpaw trees. And the pawpaw trees have to have a zebra butterfly to pollinate it.
A zebra butterfly.
And all of a sudden, zebra butterflies show up. And zebra butterflies are not around here.
Yeah.
And so it's like, oh, is that like a little achievement you unlocked in the game where all of a sudden now in the
Butterflies. Yeah.
in the map there's these new butterflies?
Yeah.
There's I planted enough
did the
different
quest.
plants that
Yeah.
this year in springtime around this day, all of a sudden turnips grow under my cedar tree.
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck is going on? Because I had a mullein plant and I never even planted mullein. And it looks
Not
so
many people have.
it looks so out of place. It doesn't look like anything that is around my house. And here's this, and it's in the middle of my fucking yard. And Vanessa's like, why'd you plant that right there? I go, I didn't. I don't even know what that is. And there's one. And it's like, I don't know. Is it like all of a sudden I started really diving into farming and permaculture and learning all these herbs and different stuff that I literally manifested random plants growing in my yard? Like, are you fucking kidding me? What are we talking about here? I don't know.
You're the only
I
guy
don't know.
in Snohomish County with a banana tree plant. And you know why, Tyler? You manifest that shit. If anyone could, I believe you could.
How'd this get here, you guys?
Yeah.
Oh shit. Oh. Go ahead, Mike.
Fucking,
No?
yeah, let's call it. I mean,
Is that it?
that's-
Should
I
we
mean,
call it? That's a good one.
I was hoping that was going to go for another hour.
Hey, I'm down.
All right.
Let's just keep going.
What's the next topic?
Well,
Pee break?
Does anyone have any questions?
Yes.
Any
No,
questions?
hang on. Let's go pee break and then we'll come back with questions.
I
got a
good one for call.
To answer your question, yes, I have wrestled with Craig. I think one time when I was a white belt, I think he literally put me in side control and like almost broke my back. Yes.
Oh my God, dude. I love you, Craig, but you have no idea.
Everybody
how strong
loves
you
Craig.
Are.
Yeah.
Like, dude, you just have no idea. I remember the first time, like what happened to me. Like I just said, I'm a brown belt now, and I've hurt my neck since I was 6 months into jiu-jitsu. It's never been the same because he got me in a rear naked choke. I was sitting on my ass. He was on his knees, I'm assuming, or standing up behind me.
Ugh.
And I remember thinking, I'm going to forward shrimp out of it, spin, and double leg him.
Yeah, turn it against him.
Right?
Play his own game.
Yeah, you're pulling back.
This is smart.
So I'm
like it.
Okay, so I'm going to fucking forward shrimp, shove his arm off my head, immediately spin, and then launch back into him. Roger that. I go to fucking do it. And the second I go to forward, like shrimp, he sprawls on my whole body, on my
Snap.
neck. Yeah, snap. Yeah. And from that day on, still to this day, that my neck's fucked up. Like I can't actually, if I try to let my neck just like relax and go back, dude, it hurts so fucking bad. If I tried to like lay on a bed or something and let my head fall off the back, oh my God, no way.
So you're saying if we get on your back to pull your forehead backwards?
And I'll fight like a motherfucker to not let it happen. I might even do one of these just so that you can't do it and you're going to be pulling my forehead.
I always say Craig is like, what is it in the rodeo? You get 7 seconds. He is a bull. And you sit on him like I've gotten mount on that guy so many times.
It's not
Dude,
possible.
your knees don't even touch the
Yeah.
ground.
No, I'll
can't
get
mount
mount.
him.
I'll mount, and for 7 seconds he holds it in, and like he's centering all of his chi, and then all of a sudden the dude explodes, and you are on the far side of the room, and he's running at you, and you're like, everything I thought that was gonna work in my head went to shit.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. I remember mounting.
He's such a trip because, oh man, how do you describe him? He's okay.
The barrel in the middle of a rodeo.
I think of an anvil. I forge and I literally have told him, I'm like, you remind me of trying to wrestle my anvil around my garage. Just like solid block, short, thick. It's like
he's
Dude,
he's a cube.
He got me in a
He's-
front
he's-
headlock
yeah.
the other day. Right?
But he's all. Here's the thing: is he looks scary because he's fucking huge,
and he's
covered in
tatted up and
tattoos
just
all over his
fucking-
head,
And then he
like,
teaches
his
the
arm.
kids class.
Yeah.
He's like, hey
Hey,
guys.
he's nice.
He's also like
guy.
the gentlest, sweetest. Like he's the kindest person I've ever met in my life.
But he was also beating like national champion
Yes.
wrestlers
Oh,
back in
yes.
high school, right? Like he's a savage
Yeah.
when it comes to that shit. And like, dude, every once in a while, I'm like, okay, I can roll with Craig, and like, I'm gonna snap him down, and it's like, you get him off balance a little bit. It's like, I'm gonna, and then all of a sudden he fucking somehow his core like comes back underneath him, and it's like, what the fuck? You're like 270 pounds of muscle. You shouldn't be able to move your fucking legs like
but
that.
he's fast.
And all of a sudden, it's like, and he's straight up and down again. It's like, God damn it. And he could be squatting, and you could try and tackle him, and you're going to bounce off of him
You
like
also
it's a
can't-
fucking tree.
Yeah, you can't close the guard,
and you can't snap. You
yeah.
can't do like a snap down. You can't do an ankle pick. You can't do a single leg.
You got to try and off balance him. And good fucking luck.
Yeah, because he's shaped like a cube.
Yeah, it's like, hey, go tip the pyramid over.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But then he's got some technique to him.
Yeah,
and all of
yeah.
a sudden, you're in his front headlock, and he's running into the goddamn wall, and he's like, I'm going to get you. And you go, no, you're not. And I'm going to try and turn. And then he's going to. And that's all that happens. He's.
And when his
next thing
arms
you know-
are in, like, close to his chest,
Oh, you're
he's
fucked.
so fucking strong.
done.
I mean, I'm pretty sure he could, like,
Pop your head off.
I think
I feel
could
like you
do
could take a
pull-ups.
stone rock and just crush it. in half.
If he wanted to put his arm out straight,
Yeah.
like I would say
All 2'6".
most of the gym could do a pull up if his arm was out straight.
yeah, yeah.
If he just wanted to put his arm out to his side
You
and
can
just
hang
hold
off
it
of
out,
and do a pull-up.
I think
I think you're right.
Fuck yeah,
Well,
dude.
a lot of
I'm
guys
about
could.
never try to arm bar him.
No, you
Only
can't.
Greg does that shit.
Yeah.
My arm bars are not nearly as good as my chokes. My chokes are far better than my arm bars.
I don't submit people.
Just wear them down.
Yeah, you guys, and that's what you guys were talking about at the very beginning. It's like, what is dominating someone? And for me,
Staying
it's
in
like
good positions.
moving around them and fluttering them by moving so fast that they can't get orientation of where they are and where I am. To me, that's dominating because I come from an MMA background.
Yeah, I was going to say, you
so
can beat
I
the
think
fuck
of
out of
hitting.
them in there.
I don't think of choking. My first fight, I dominated the guy, and they're like, "Why didn't you try and submit him?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, submissions. I forgot." But it's like, yeah.
But as long as you can hold the positions and you can strike them, they can't get out.
Yeah.
I mean, that's way worse for them. If I'm ever in a fight and like someone can actually kick my ass, just fucking, I don't want to get my ass beat by elbows and punches and shit.
No one does. But like you guys were saying earlier, suck their soul. To me,
I love you, Kozak.
sucking their soul is moving around them and they can't catch you. That's sucking a soul.
There is a actual physical feeling of somebody breaking underneath you.
Yeah, that's how I get.
And I say underneath you because they are always underneath you when this happens.
Yeah, you're jumping around sides, knee on belly, grabbing arms,
Anything,
switching
you're
sides,
just holding
feet.
them, and just fucking. And it might not even be where you're fucking really working anymore, but they give up.
Yes,
And you might not be. You might be at the fucking edge of your fucking seat of like just barely holding on by the skin of your teeth, and you're not gonna do it. And all of a sudden, you feel them break, and you're just like, "I didn't do it before you, motherfucker." I gotcha. And that's where like that's the it's like two people are standing on other side, like you're on this side of a mountain and you're on this side of a mountain, and guess what? Ready, go. And whoever gives up first is not gonna make it. And the person who gets to the top of the mountain first is like, but you'd never know until you're there.
But that's
so it's like I might be there. He might be 100 foot. I just keep going, just keep going, just keep going, just keep going. And then all of a sudden, they just sit down. And they might have been at the very fucking top of the mountain, but you don't know where the top is, and you don't know where the other person is. And when you reach that point, and somebody else just gives up, there's literally not you just took everything from them, and you just
and how much more energy does that give you?
Oh,
you're charged back up.
You lose shit up.
Yeah.
I had a moment in Ranger School where we were in, this is mountain phase of Ranger School. And so as you're doing these movements through the terrain, right, the instructors will assign, they'll throw an artillery simulator. Everybody has to hit the deck, wait till the bang, jump up, run 200 yards, whatever. And then they'll assign a casualty. So they'll be like, Tyler, lay down, you're dead. Now the entire platoon has to go into like evacuation mode. And part of that is somebody's got to carry this guy's gear, right? He's dead. We don't leave all this shit behind. So I remember this night where they threw the arty sim, they assigned a casualty, and everybody's kind of standing there. And it's like, fuck, we've got like a 900-foot vertical climb to do right now. And I just was like, fuck it. I got it. I picked up his ruck. So now I've got my 65-pound ruck on my back. I've got his 65-pound ruck on my front. And then I took both our rifles, set them on top of that rock in front of me. So I couldn't even really see where I was going. I could barely see over the top, right? And I just started walking up that mountain. Mm-hmm. And so here comes, the rest of the platoon. They're all struggling too. They're dragging the quote unquote dead guy in the litter. But there's a few guys who aren't doing anything other than carrying their own ruck and their own rifle.
Hiking.
Yeah.
And they're dropping out.
And they're making fuck noises. And I remember looking over at one of these guys, and it just made me feel good.
Yeah.
Because I was like, you fucking bitch.
Yeah.
I'm wearing 2 rucksacks, and I'm carrying 2 rifles, and I'm fucking crushing you.
And
I was like, and that was the moment where I knew, like, this school can't break me.
Mm-hmm.
But that's where ego is good.
Yeah. Yes.
The ego is a
ego
shield that does
too.
protect you sometimes. Like you were saying, like your dad's like, if someone punches you, what do? You stand up. That is your ego because of preservation of self. Without the ego, it's a double-edged sword. It can get you fucked.
You have to have
but
ego.
You have to have it.
When one of my ayahuasca experiences, I was wondering, so I kept, it's really hard for me to get out of my thinking mind.
Yeah.
Okay. It's just like,
we all do.
And it doesn't matter how much medicine you give me. Like, it will just make my mind think even fucking more.
Yeah.
And the shaman one night was like, Tyler, you need to tell your thinking mind to shut the fuck up. What's happening is you can't be present. You need to be present in the present moment, and you can't because your mind has overruled your body.
Yeah.
And what's happening is your mind is pulling your body through life. This is the same as like if you're driving down the road and all of a sudden you went from your house to your destination and you don't even remember the route because you were on autopilot. Yeah. Your mind is so
does its
thing and it just pulls the body behind it. So what were we talking about?
I had sat back for a minute to relax.
Letting the mind go.
Cruising altitude?
Cruising altitude.
Fuck, dude. That happens to me on my podcast where I'm like, I have something great that I need to say. And then by the time I get done trying to explain that, I can't remember why I even started talking about that.
I think they're called potholes.
They are potholes, huh? I call it, if you're too enlightened, you have too much information, you'll forget because there's so many files and Rolodexes, and it's we'll just go to this one. Hey, I have a question.
I do
for
that
you guys.
to my wife all the time.
Hang on. This is perfect.
Before we took our last piss break, I said, hey, do you guys have any questions?
Oh, yeah.
And then you pushed, yeah, I do. Click. Yeah. So what's the questions?
Not my question, more so of...
for a friend? Asking for a friend?
No. I swear it's not infected. I remember one time in the parking lot, dude, with you, and this is how it starts. It's a love story. No. But we were, it's like right as COVID was happening, and you're like, oh, they're putting nanoparticles in people.
Oh, fuck.
And I remember going, fucking nanoparticles? Fuck yeah, shoot me up with them. And you looked at me like I was from Zombie Land, dude. You looked at me like, what? And what I realized is we had a miscommunication because what I was thinking with nanoparticles was nanobots. Okay. And so you're very into like, what we're built for, our evolutionary function, the things that tie us, connect us, it's the best for us because that's where we came from. But I have to think in a weird way, as science and everything progresses, it changes us and it becomes part of us. Your phone kind of becomes you in a weird sort of way. And yes, for bad things, but also... I've never gotten lost in the last 5 years. Yeah. I've looked up fantastic food recipes, things to help me in hunting, things to help me in jiu-jitsu. So there are aspects of it that's good. And
it goes back to that power thing.
Exactly.
Right?
So you're weighing it. And so when we had that conversation, you said nanoparticles and I said nanoparticles, I was thinking about nanobots. And to me, the future, if we just keep going on this trajectory, if you can have a computer small enough and a little robot small enough, that's the idea with Moore's Law is everything, a transistor condensed down and you have more ability. But robotics and a lot of technology follows that same trajectory of the hockey stick going up to the point. It's like if you could have nanobots where it's like, fuck TRT. I'll get these pellets out of my ass.
Well, they make super soldiers already. That's already like a thing.
But that's not my question as to whether they can do it or not. The question to me that I have for you is, do you think it takes away from you? Maybe it does take away certain aspects if you can like have connection to the internet, but also like if there are sicknesses, I mean, so like AIDS, you could download, the AIDS thing, but like,
Well, you got to have
At
Fauci
what part-
stop giving atrazine.
Yeah. But at what part does that take away your humanity? At what point does technology take away from who you are? You could say that if we came from apes and monkeys and cave people,
I think
the
I have an
first
answer.
person to pick up a stick is using technology.
Yeah.
So is the guy that doesn't use the stick better and more old school? But that also crafts you and becomes tools and stone and then metal. And you're a metal dude.
Yeah.
Without stone and learning how to strike with stone, you wouldn't invent metal to learn how to strike with metal.
Yeah.
At what point does technology take away? So like that nanobot thing of mine, if it was just us in the gym and I invented it, there would be no narcissism and I wouldn't use it for a malintent. I would try and promote us. But
Yeah.
does that still take away from us?
I think it.
This is a loaded question. I thought about this a lot.
Well, first off, I don't know the correct answer. Right?
Yeah.
But
This is a Tyler question I wanted to ask you.
And it's kind of multifaceted.
Yeah.
And I think first off, as long as it's not harming us mentally, physically, or spiritually, inhibiting us mentally, physically, or spiritually,
Yeah.
I don't see that it would be too much of a problem, because as long as you still have your consciousness, you still have your free will, your intuition, your divine connection to the higher realms, and it's not being used as a nefarious or malicious weapon against us.
But do you think our phone disconnects us from our higher realm? And that's where
Yes,
it's like,
I do.
Where does technology bridge that gap?
When you're
A stick
that-
when you're
doesn't-
no
but that-
longer connected to the present.
That
Yeah.
that
And-
phone is connected to malintent.
To malintent, right? It's for a reason. Now, if we could stare at it, like if our phone was putting out certain love healing frequencies, vibrations, the EMF or radiation coming off of it wasn't DOR, meaning deadly organ radiation, and was POR for positive organ radiation.
So hold on. Let me ask a couple questions there. Now, your phone is doing this regardless of what the content is.
Yes.
Of your phone.
Yeah.
So
Now,
at what point is the information you're getting from your phone overriding the negative effects of the DOR or the
well, you're not gonna override the DOR from the.
if all of a sudden
from
you got some crazy good
information
of like, hey, you know what, if I put whatever your copper.
Okay,
stuff,
are
and
you
you're
asking?
gain-
Is
you're
there
gaining
ways
the-
to get rid of
Well,
it?
no, I'm saying you're gaining information from your phone
Yeah,
to help you with gardening, to help you with all these different things. At what point do you say, okay, I have enough, and now it's time to put away a fucking phone? Or because what we were talking about earlier, is
books.
You get books, sure.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the oldest form of a phone.
Where are you gonna find your
Jordan,
a book?
I have a goal of being completely off social media in 5 years. Like I want Training Northwest to be so well known.
It's in
Or at
books.
least- well,
It's not on social
no,
media.
like,
it's
where
in
you're
books.
talking about like connectivity.
I'm talking about connectivity, but I'm also talking about like, you know, at some point you get plugged into like books and you're like, okay, I'm going
It's
down the rabbit
information.
hole
This
for these books.
provides
But
knowledge.
the reality is everybody in the world right now is getting information, and like, it's not all bad off of a phone, but there's a frequency that pulls me into it, and there's a frequency that keeps me here, and I
Yeah.
can't stop.
But
looking
it's
at
not the books.
But then all of a
here,
sudden-
let me say something.
Please.
There's two things that I see with that. You have the information, like what you said, what you're researching, whether that's good shit
Or bad
culture
shit.
or bad shit.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you have the actual EMF that's coming out of the fucking thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so those are two separate things.
100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
So first off, hold on. The EMF coming out, there's some ways to mitigate it. You can not have your phone in your pocket. Don't put it up to your ear. You can get shungite stickers and stick on the back of it.
Learned
which
all
will-
from your
will
phone.
help. All this different. Yeah, learned all from your phone.
Yeah.
It's just like the power thing. Okay. But in order for it to stay on the pendulum of on the power grid of in the white magic and not the sorcerer magic. We need to use that as a tool. Okay? So just like a tool in the toolbox, my screwdriver or my ratchet or my wrench or whatever the fuck it is that I'm using sits in the toolbox, except for when I need to use those specific tools.
Yes.
Okay? So as soon as I'm walking around with hatchets and screwdrivers and chisels and shit in my pocket and in my car and in my bed, and then I take showers with it and I brush my teeth with my hammer in my hand, it's becoming a disconnect. And that metaphor is the same as the phone, right? The phone is the tool in the toolbox. So if as long as you're using
toolbox,
exactly, as long as, hey, I'm going to get on my phone and I'm going to call Kozak. I'm going to set up an appointment for the boys to get over to do a podcast. I'm going to look up the recipe for grandma's chocolate chip cookies. I'm going to figure out I'm going to go pay my bill. I'm going to, use it as a tool. When you're done using it as the tool, when the screw is screwed in, don't sit there and fiddle fuck around with the tool anymore. Go put it back in the toolbox and go on with your life.
That's a very good point, because not only are phones tools now, but they become filled with silly string.
Right.
The Instagram, the Twitters, all that stuff.
Yeah,
the
they
tools
become
of
controllers.
what you do and can learn from them is one aspect. But I guarantee you, when you look at your phone history and it's like, you spent this much time on this app, it's not the YouTube of understanding this. It's the Instagram. It's the bullshit.
Yeah, the bullshit.
The silly string.
That's keeping us, I think one of the most important things about being a human is the fact that this goes into the kind of the nanobots and nano shit, is we have the ability to create, and that comes from an imagination, and that imagination comes from that realm I was talking about where everything exists, where there's everything and anything and nothing all in the same. No time. That place I was talking about in meditation, where it's one. The place of no form and matter is just spirit.
Yeah.
Okay? So as long as we are able to maintain that, we can have an imagination, and we can close our eyes and we can go to this place where we come up with all these crazy thoughts and different shit. And then we have the ability to create it, to create something within our mind that doesn't, quote unquote, exist in the physical realm, manifest it, and then create it into a tangible thing. This fucking microphone, this podcast, these beers, the can, every single thing that you see was a thought manifested into the creation itself.
Do you think spirit then can be contained? Like, you know how they say like
It is contained right now.
like, could you
we
put
getting in-
yourself into a computer? Do you think what a spirit is
no,
could
no,
be?
no.
But if
Well,
a
but who
spirit
knows?
is
Maybe we're in
energy,
VR. What we're
everything's
talking about
energy.
is
If
in
you
the
could
computer.
download what energy is, if you could download the thumbprint of your spirit, do you think spirits not only live in the
I think
meat
they're trying
vessel?
to do that. I think that's what the internet.
Yeah,
of
but that's
things-
what I mean. We're going
Yeah, we're
towards
going
that. That's
towards
what
that.
I mean.
Yeah, yes,
So
yes.
can that thing, that energy, do you think that could be put? Could Tyler be put into fucking the SD card that we put here? But then you know what? You do live forever in a way, as long as that card's out there and
Do
you
you
have.
want to live forever?
No.
Do you want
but-
to
no,
have your
but-
soul
I'm so
go on
ready.
past beyond like what we have right now? The
if
energy
I have
that
to
we're-
mow my lawn
we
one
are-
more
we are
fucking time,
here-
I'm taking my life. dude.
This is what I think. I think energy is here right now. Our spirit and our energy is in this place, in like this physical realm that we're dealing with, and we are our spirit is experiencing emotions, and the emotions that we're gaining through like this world or this realm or whatever the fuck we're doing right now, our spirit will go on past this, and it's going to go to something else later. But right now we're here, and we have to experience what it's like to have
hardship, pain,
hardship, pain,
everything,
happiness, love,
good,
everything. Right?
This is
The gambit.
realm, this is the realm of physicality.
Yes.
There is no other realm with form and matter. This is the realm of form and matter.
And we
I
are
have a
we're
question.
learning from
Ooh,
do you think-
I like that.
Oh, hang
I
on.
like that, Tyler.
that's
Right? It's
that's
the realm
why
of
that's
form
why
and
we
matter.
have the
Yeah.
emotion.
You have
But hang
to
on.
exist.
So
Yeah.
we have no memory of anything else. Do you think a spirit and a soul has memory, or do you think that like is your spirit leaving your body? Is it just pure energy?
Well, now that kind of goes into like
So-
reincarnation. Do
think
you live past lives? Is part of your energy put into other people's energy and it dissolves?
You
when
want to get
die?
deep for a minute?
Yeah, fuck yeah, we do.
Okay. God, you guys keep asking these questions. Okay, so in alchemy, okay?
Yeah.
Alchemy is the transformation of energy, right? The traditional, or I shouldn't say
What is it?
traditional.
Lead to gold is the
Exactly.
traditional.
That's
yeah,
the
yeah.
most like sought out, or not sought after, but well known thing.
That's
Is
the
that
name.
tequila?
No. Unfortunately, but you're next.
It's Igor's drink.
Oh, it's fucking
Vodka.
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 Yeah. Is it with potatoes?
Sure.
Okay,
Yes.
I'll take a little sip.
Sure.
Sure.
Yeah, you can have it with potatoes, whatever you want. Have it with rice for all I care.
That's leftover from archery.
Yeah.
You know, I grew up in the orchards eating raw potatoes.
Oh yeah, I've
I've
heard these
eaten more,
stories.
yeah, raw potatoes. Okay,
Okay.
Starchy.
so the question was, say it again.
Oh shit! Pin back on me, right?
Oh, fuck. 4-finger point right there.
Yeah, right.
Oh, no. I remember. Okay,
like
alchemy.
fourth grade.
Okay,
Yeah. Alchemy.
You brought up, do ghosts or spirits have memory? Okay,
Yeah.
so here's the thing. From an alchemist point of view, which is essentially a scientist, alchemy is the transformation of energy. And salt is the masculine energy that holds all memory, the salt of the earth. This is where the salt of the earth man, this is where the salt of the,
Yeah.
this is where the saying comes from. When you take distilled water, I've talked about this in my podcast about cymatics and about the frequency of using your thoughts and intentions and vibrations to add structure to, we'll just say,
Still
water.
has nothing. There's no mineral.
Without any salt, distilled water is a clean slate.
Yeah.
Okay?
an
It's
empty
the
medium.
salt in the water that holds the memory.
Makes it conductive.
Okay, so you can take distilled water and then have the vibration going,
Yeah.
and then it will be in there. But when you stop the vibration,
And
It's done.
then it's
yes.
done.
And
Yep.
electrically, distilled water is like you're taught that.
Yeah.
Don't stand
Car
in,
batteries,
Don't
baby.
stand in water if the power lines are down because it'll shock you. Water itself, distilled water, is an
It's
insulator.
insulator, not a conductor.
It's the
Yeah.
electrolytes, the salts
Yes.
that are in the water that actually shock you.
Okay, so in your father's semen or sperm was
My
the
dad?
salt.
Hang on,
Yes.
You're pointing at Kozak, right?
Yep.
Okay.
And yours,
Oh.
and yours,
Oh, God.
and every single
It
one
tastes
of us.
heard it was
salty.
The salt within that is the memory of your entire lineage, which is where your DNA gets your, like in ayahuasca, we talk about past
They had a
lives
war
and,
mask that
and the
matched
war
their
mass and all
heritage.
that stuff that's
Yeah.
coming from your father.
Yeah.
The masculine energy.
Wait, hang on. So, like do you know what you've heard the term epigenetics?
I know eugenics.
So epigenetics is like the rat study. So they had a bunch of rats and then they put them in a cage and then they
Shocked 'em.
released
Okay.
a citrus pheromone, and every time they did it,
They get shocked?
they would get shocked.
Yep, I
and
know
so
it.
they would have babies, and then when the baby, they would release the citrus pheromone, wouldn't shock the babies, but the rats would like piss
Cower.
themselves and cower and stuff like that.
Same
so
thing.
epigenetics is something where like memory gets passed on
Through that
so
salt.
you think that's through that salt conductor
Yep.
of it, like the genetics is your DNA and it says this is what you look like in your muscle mass, but your intent and your memory comes through the salt.
Through the salt.
Yeah.
Memories through the salt.
Okay. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Interesting. Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah, so when you say, like, does a ghost have memory and stuff? I don't know. I don't know, because is there some type of salt to the ghost?
I don't think anybody knows. I'm just posing the question.
Yeah,
when your spirit leaves your
Is
body,
there salt in plasma? Isn't a ghost supposed to be plasma? It's that medium between. There's different forms of energy.
Liquid and solid.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So is there
the proton packs?
Ghostbusters?
Yeah. And then what was that?
We're getting real scientific here.
They had a trap that opened up and
That's how you get Slimer.
Yeah, this is real shit, Mike.
Yeah.
So
Oh, my bad.
when you open the trap, to
Bill
the other
Murray is a
dimension,
doctor. Dr. Peter Venkman.
Maybe that's what we need is more foot traps to open other dimensions. And
Well, do you believe in ghosts?
I have a thought, which is that, I am still struggling through Mike Kozak's books on time and what time means in relation to gravity.
This asshole gave us 2 of them at the same time.
Yeah.
And
This
then I
was
get him.
3 months ago, and we're supposed to do a book report.
I was like, "Are we on now, or are
my
we on the fucking
God.
time book? Are we on now?"
It's all
I
good,
can't-
dude.
I'm working my way through it still. And I think that people who have experiences with ghosts, it's most likely where 2 3-dimensional points that are like somebody else lived in this house before I did.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a point where the 3-dimensional points touch through the 4th dimension. And so you see another, whether it's future or past, you see another point in time in that physical space. And you just catch a glimpse, and then that wrinkle is gone. And it's like, I think I just saw a ghost. I don't think you did. I think you saw another time space.
And that makes a lot of sense when it comes to our physical realm that we're in right now, right? So when you think of the older the house, the more haunted it is. You know what I mean? Like,
It's had more experience.
it's had more life through it, and it truly, like, that makes a big difference because I've gone
the wrinkles prior to that would just be forest, right?
it'd be forest, but then also you the amount of forest I've been in and like looked at, like, oh, look at how big that tree is that's been cut down, and then I just start, like, my mind starts wandering of, but I'm getting off topic. What I was trying to think of was a particular time in my life I walked through. I was in where was it? South Carolina, and I was in this market, and the market was like a Sunday market, Saturday market kind of a situation. People are selling their stuff. People are selling cookies and baked goods and all this other bullshit. And but when I walked in, I was just like, this feels fucking kind of crazy heavy. But I mean, it's a light event, but it feels kind of dark. It was a goddamn slave trade. It was a slave auction house that I was in, and they were doing a Saturday market in it, and it felt.
Did you get a bun cake?
I got 2 of them,
Yeah.
Elephant ears.
but it felt
With a side of lashings.
It felt,
Yeah. Did you bid on a block?
yeah, I was like, I'll take him.
Fuck.
Oh, really? Shows a man. Huh?
This is where we get canceled.
No, it felt very heavy, and it felt like there was something that was not normal for the experience that I was looking at this and feeling something else.
Yeah.
And I don't think that a ghost necessarily is like something you see, but something maybe you feel, and like that extra salt in the air, whatever the fuck you want to call it. I think that comes from like
Jizz.
just that feeling. Yeah, the jizz in the air.
I got a ghost idea.
I want to hear yours too, because I have something to say as well.
Do you want to go first?
No, I want to hear yours first.
Okay.
You go first.
I'll go first.
Yeah.
So I think that what ghosts are is like a black hole. So like if you have
There you go.
enough matter or energy, what you'll do is you'll collapse time space, right? And you create a door, a portal, just something unknown. You create a collapse in the structure. And I think, like, have you guys ever been in car accidents?
Mm-hmm.
Do you kind of remember weird, specific, nuanced details from those car accidents that it's like, oh, I got slammed in an airbag, but I remember seeing my iPods. I remember seeing this. I think it is when you go through things super intense, just the way that if you go very fast, everything around you slows down. If you mentally go through something very intense, your mind has a speed at which it thinks.
Yeah.
But if you go through very intense situation, it forces your mind to speed up, and it forces like a mini black hole in the thought process, like the thought process of understanding in your awareness, consciousness. Do we have a bat?
Yeah,
It's
that's
a giant fucking moth.
If you go cliff diving,
Yeah.
right? You ever go cliff jumping?
Yeah,
And then
dude,
all of a sudden-
everything slows down. Yes, it feel like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
So I think when you have a ghost, what you have is a super intense moment where there's a murder, there's a rape, there's something so fucking horrific that it causes a time-space rip and you get a black hole in consciousness. And what you're feeling is a memory that's so fucking heavy it breaks time space, and that's why, like, Sixth Sense, oh, it's cold, or I feel this.
Yeah.
What you're feeling is a break in time and space.
Yeah.
And that's what I think memory of ghosts could be.
I agree.
That's the only thing.
I like that a lot.
Yeah.
You guys say stuff so much better. So much better than I do. It's ridiculous.
Jordan, what are ghosts?
They're things. They're salty.
It's a bed sheet with a pee stain, dude, at Halloween.
But that's the thing that I'm talking about. It's like exactly, right? Like you going through a slave auction thing, feeling this like, holy shit,
Yeah.
something's not right here.
Broke the atmosphere.
There's something that broke the. It's you shouldn't feel heavy like that in a place that's happy, right? People are happy in front of you, and you're just like.
But that's what
Something feels off.
Tyler's saying with like the memory and the salt, and it's like it
it's
seems
there.
like there
It's-
is
it's-
feelings
there's energy in it.
around.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the reason why I ask you is like, I'm going to do a podcast on this soon because it comes up. It's been coming up more often. And I've been asking, I haven't really talked about this much with anyone because people think I'm crazy.
Anyone outside jiu-jitsu is a dummy, so I get you, dude.
But I ask because, like, has anyone dealt? I've been asking people, have you ever encountered? Okay. And the thing is like, I've been encountering ghosts since I was probably 12 years old. And to the point where my parents were going to move out of our house. Literally, my mom and my stepdad were so fucking scared to live in my house that we were going to move because of the things that were going on. I was in 8th grade. This is when it started. And it started with my sister. I had no idea even what a Ouija board was at the time.
Ooh, nice.
My sister went over to the neighbors and got a Ouija board and came back and started doing Ouija board in my room. And it was after this that things started being crazy. Okay? All sorts of things. Like, there was 3 ghosts in my house. There was an old man named Russell who was trapped. There was a tiny little girl who would scream mom, who we would think was my sister, but then my sister wouldn't even be home. And it would be like, what the fuck? And then there was a man named Brian who was connected to the fucking property. And the craziest thing is my mom got a hold. She worked in downtown Seattle at a really high-end endodontics office, like where famous people go to get their teeth fucking worked on.
Yeah.
And
Busey.
the word got out. My mom's like, I'm going to fucking move. Even though we just purchased this house, I cannot live here anymore. Like, shit's being fucked up. Like, my parents would go outside to go smoke a cigarette, and then the sliding glass doors would be locked with, like, the wood blocks. They'd be locked out of the house and shit. Like, fucked
That's a
up.
pesky ghost.
Yeah,
dude.
exactly.
Yeah, that's an asshole.
So it was the Seattle, like, paranormal people. It was free. They wanted to. They were like, "We
No
want to take
way.
this
Oh, yeah.
on." Yes.
Oh, yes, they wanted to take it
They
on.
did, and they came. And dude, here's the thing: is that I was a little kid, and they knew everything, even about my best friend when they were over, the things that would happen, And they went all through it and did this fucking ritual, and it was all good from that point on, okay? We never moved. I grew up there. My grandma's house in Wenatchee, my grandma had always had a ghost, but I never believed her. Then me and my friend Josh were laying there one night, and this is after my dad passed away. And we were laying in the spare room, and somebody
holes riddled everywhere.
No, somebody would turn the fucking hallway light on and off. We could see underneath the door. I was sleeping, and my buddy Josh woke me up and was like, Tyler, look. And you could see under the door the light going on and off, and somebody, footsteps walking up and down the hallway. So in the morning time, like, I can't imagine it being my grandma. And it scared the fucking shit out of us, dude. We're both laying in bed going, and we're
scares
probably,
me, and you're telling
we're
the
probably
story,
like 16, I think. Seriously. Ask grandma in the morning. She says no, it wasn't her. Okay. Still, put that away. The most craziest thing out of everything, even more than when I was a little kid living in this house with shit happening all the time, is my very first house that I moved into. So when I moved out of my parents' house, I moved into this house in a garage. It was like this.
Yeah.
Except for it was a little bit wider, and then they blocked off like this chunk. They drywalled this off. This was a little room for like a little living room. That part was a bedroom. And then they had like a little bathroom right here, and then a little door, no kitchen. Okay? And I'd fucking have a table right here, and I'd smoke a cigarette and lift up my side of my living room and play Xbox and drink beers and whatever.
Sounds perfect.
Yeah,
dude.
it was
I
great.
like it.
So here's the deal. It was a house with an upstairs and a downstairs. The garage was split into a home. And then the downstairs was a home. So this was 3 homes. There was a house upstairs, a family who had the whole upstairs unit. There was me in the garage, and there was a guy named Kelly in the downstairs of the house.
Fucking Kelly.
Okay? So Kelly lived where I lived, and then this person's moving out, Kelly's moving into there, and I'm taking Kelly's spot. Okay? Bro, like, even just thinking, like, I don't even want to think back on these. This time that I lived in this fucking house was so bizarre. So I live in this garage, and the first thing that happens that I notice is that there's no kitchen, but there's like this little like closet that I have like Tupperware and shit in, and I had a little hot plate that I could take me like 45 minutes to make macaroni and cheese. Whatever, it fucking worked.
Been there, yeah.
So one day I go to grab something, and there's a box up on top of like where I put some shit. And I grab it, and it's brand new, and it's a fucking Ouija board. And it still has the cellophane on it. And I was like, oh, fuck no, dude, we're getting this out of the house. But Kelly had just moved out, so I knew it was his. So I walk over to the neighbor, to his house, knock on the door, and I say, hey, you left this. And he's like, that's not mine. I go, well, it's now fucking mine, I'll tell you that. And it's brand new. There's still the cellophane around it. And he's like, no, I would never have that. Where'd you find that? So I bring him over to my house, and I show him exactly where it's at. And he says, there's no way that it can be there because that's where my wife put our pitchers, like for juice and shit. And I said, okay. So I went and I dropped it off at my buddy Evan's house, who always gave me shit about ghosts and stuff. And I was like, fuck it, I'll drop it off in his front porch, little faggot. So I did. I dropped it off at his house. Thought it was weird. Whatever. The next thing that I start noticing is, so after I crashed my dirt bike and I fucked my ankle up, I stopped like wiggling around in the sleep. Oh. I just lay in one spot. I have to pull the covers over my left foot because the weight of the blankets will like hurt my foot. So it has to stick out. And I just fucking lay flat on my back. Oh. Like I learned that from recovering. So I would get up and I'd make my fucking bed in the morning. And the duvet cover You know, it has like buttons on the bottom.
Yeah.
You put the buttons at the bottom of the bed. At least I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who wants to sleep with buttons in their face?
Right. Up here.
Yeah.
Oh, so cozy.
Yeah.
I chew on them.
Bunch of tough guys we are.
And then I had a throw blanket. It was just like a, furry fleece throw blanket that I
Nice.
put on the end of the bed.
That's a nice setup you have.
Yeah.
It was nice.
Bedding's everything. Fuck.
I lived in a fucking
Tyler's
garage.
making a lot
Hang on.
of sense.
Let's talk about towels while we're here.
Right? Well, here's the deal. I lived in a garage, so it wasn't the prettiest thing, but I still like chicks. So in order to get chicks to
you had to have
actually
a nice
stay,
bed.
you had to.
Oh, bro.
It had to be.
For any 24-year-old dudes listening out there, one of your key things you need to do is have a solid bed.
How about this? Just wash your sheets.
Well, no.
That's
You
the
gotta-
biggest
You
thing.
gotta have a queen or better. You gotta have some nice sheets, a down comforter, like the high end pillows.
You can have the nicest
Dude,
bed,
I
but
just
if you
I
got
just moved
crusty
into
sheets-
an apartment one time and I had an air mattress. You would never seen a girl leave so quick.
Well,
Yeah, that's
I've
what I'm
done
saying.
work on an air mattress, boys.
He's talking,
I'm sorry.
He's talking about himself.
So anyway, I have this duvet cover. Okay?
I'm sorry,
And I have this
Tyler.
throw blanket. And I do my bed the same way every day. I start noticing in the morning when I start making my fucking bed that the buttons are on the side of my bed, like no longer down by my feet. The buttons are on the side, but my throw blanket is still on the bottom of my bed. And I thought, okay. And I started noticing to the point where I called my mom. And I was like, Mom, some weird shit's been going on at my house. It reminds me of growing up in the Linwood house. It's bizarre, but I can't pinpoint it yet. However, if this continues, like, how does my duvet cover, my whole comforter, a queen-size comforter, down comforter, gets spun 90 degrees, but the throw blanket
Still the right
still
way.
stays down on the my feet. Something's going on. It was happening. Not every night. It wasn't every night. It was like every once in a while, it would be like fucking flipped. Okay. So then in my bathroom was kind of gnarly, like not very clean. And so I had a bleach bottle, like a squirt, Mr. Suds or whatever, a scrubby brush, a toothbrush, and every time I'd go into the fucking bathroom to shower, I'd wear flip-flops and I'd scrub the fuck out of it. Every time. For like a month, I would do this. Just every time I was in the shower, I'd fucking scrub it. Yeah. And so I knew that my shower was clean. I had came home from work one day. I go to take a shower, and I get in the shower, and there's fucking red hair that's like this long and clumps, like enough for me to grab a whole clump all over the inside of my shower, like on the walls.
So one of your roommates went to the strip club.
I have no idea, dude. It gave me like whatever feeling that I'm assuming you felt at the fucking slave house. I had this feeling of like, what the fuck? Someone was in my house. Yeah. I clean this every single day. So I go over to Kelly's and I knock on the door and I said, hey man, is there by any chance did you guys happen to take a shower like in my house? And he's like, no. And we have no way of getting in there. Like we all have different locks and shit. I have my own shower. Okay. I walk upstairs because I knew there was a family that lived upstairs. And there's a girl.
Shower.
There's a girl that, a mom. And I'm like, knock on the door. Hey, I live downstairs in the garage. By any chance did you guys take a shower in my shower today? And they're like, no, we have 2 showers, 2 baths up here. Okay, thanks. Go back down, clean it all out. Don't know what to say. Then Kelly has a friend from Michigan, Mike, who is probably in his mid-50s, and he has now moved in, and I see him out in the driveway one day, and like I was out there, probably had side of my living room rolled up, doing whatever the fuck I was doing, working on my dirt bike, listening to Metallica or something. And he's out there smoking a cigarette, and we start shooting the shit. And I end up asking him, I said, hey, do you think that this place is haunted? And he goes, no, I don't believe in any of that shit. He goes, my friends have been trying to make me believe in fucking ghosts since I was a little kid. Like, none of that exists. I said, how long you been here? And he goes, oh, a couple days. I go, all right, in a little bit, we're going to have this conversation again because I've been living here for a little bit too, and I'm pretty sure this place is haunted. And he's like, giving me shit. Doesn't believe it. I talk to him all the time. He's out there all the time. He doesn't have a job or anything. But he's cool. He's a cool guy to drink beer with and bullshit. One day I go to the fucking bar, and I'm with my buddy Evan, the one who I dropped the Ouija board off at. And we're sitting there, and I look over, and Mike, that guy, is in the bar, pale white in the face. Somehow found me, even though I don't know how the fuck he found me, and is looking for me to tell me that he 100% believes there's a ghost in the house.
What happened?
I'm laughing. I'm drunk, dude. I'm like thinking this is the funniest fucking thing. This guy went from ghosts don't exist to you escaped the house and found me at the bar and you're ghost white. And you're like, oh no, it's there. And I'm like, yeah, okay, so tell me what happened. He's like, dude, I was like in the shower, and then I got out of the shower, and I went into my room, and he goes, there was this feeling I had. I've never had this feeling of a terrible, terrible feeling. And then the smell of burnt hair overwhelmed the whole entire room. Oh, see, my goosebumps are coming. Yeah. He goes, it was not like a little hair. It was like a whole bunch of hair got engulfed in flames. And he's like, I don't know, man. I had to fucking leave. So I thought that was weird. So then I have a buddy named Ryan, who Ryan also does not believe me about ghosts. None of the stories, none of it. I said, you know what? Why don't you just start coming over? I can't promise you, like, it's going to happen. But the more times that you come to my house, like, it's inevitable. It will happen sooner or later. So my buddy Ryan starts coming over to my house. And one day, I'm in this room that's like my living room. And Ryan is in the kitchen, and there's a door shut in between us. And I'm playing like Call of Duty or something on Xbox. And all of a sudden, I hear a huge crash. And I figured Ryan just dropped the fucking dish or something like that. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, Ryan comes busting in through the door. What the fuck was that? I'm like, I don't know. Sound like you dropped something. He goes, bro, something happened. And I'm like, okay. If it wasn't you, then it was the ghost. That's what I'm telling you. Like, things happen around this place where as soon as you can't explain it, what else could it be? So we go out, and I had this picture that my great aunt gave me, and it's of two Alaskan Malamutes, and it's on a picture frame, and it's the type of picture where, like, you put the nails in, and then it goes onto it, and then clips down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the keyhole.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
It has been taken off the wall. It would be like if there was a hallway right there that went 30 feet. Okay. And the picture is right below that flag on this wall. Mm-hmm. It got pulled off.
So like 10 foot away from the hallway.
Down here, and then all the way down and thrown against the door and shattered.
30 foot away.
And Ryan goes, I'm going home. And left. Okay. And that's the last ghost. Oh, no. There was one more after that. So that happens. And then I'm going to go to Barter Fair, which is up where you were raised. Oh, yeah. Tenasserim. Okay. The night before I'm going to Barter Fair, I called my mom. I said, hey, Mom. And mind you, when I'm living in the house now, I'm well aware that there's a fucking ghost there, and I'm talking to it every night. Because as soon as everyone goes away and I'm laying there in my bed, I'm like, yep, I know that we share this space together. You want to hang out with me? Then you got to leave me alone. You can't touch me. You can't fuck with me, so I can wake up in the morning, go to work, get the money so I can come back to keep paying for this place if you want to be roommates. The second you start fucking with me, you're going to be living here alone again. And that was my way of like dealing with.
Let's be homies.
Yep, let's be homies. Okay? I can deal with it. Like if you want to share space, that's fine, but we got to respect each other. Don't be fucking with me, man.
You tamed the ghost.
Yeah, I did. So I called my mom and said, "Hey mom, I needed like a razor or something." And my buddy Evan was there at the house. My mom comes over, drops off a brown paper bag, like from the grocery store, of some shit. I don't know, underwear or toothpaste, just goods. Yeah. Evan goes home. Mom goes home. I say, "Hey, Ev, I'll see you in the morning. We're going to leave at 5 o'clock in the morning and fucking drive 7.5 hours up to Denasket." Okay. They leave. I go grab this bag and I go to put my fucking razor away. I will never forget this, dude. I go to put my razor away and I walk up into my bathroom and I open the door, the like mirror. You know, the mirror opens for me to put the razor in.
Cabinet.
Yep. I put it in there and I don't know how to explain it, you guys. The ghost went inside of me. Like it fucking went in me and it made all the hair on my body stand up. It was like this cold, terrible, frightening feeling. And I could see out of the corner of my eye, I had my table just my dinner table. And it was a glass table that I had in the back of every motocross magazine is a picture of a hot chick in a bikini on a dirt bike.
Underneath it.
Yeah. So the whole thing was just like a collage of these hot chicks. And I seen somebody standing at the fucking end of the table like this, looking at the girls out of the corner of my eye. And when I look over, there's no one. And that feeling, it like engulfed me. Oh, I don't even know how to explain it. And I ran out my house, left the door wide open, screaming at the top of my lungs, "I know you're here. Leave me alone. Leave me alone." I run to Kelly's house, who I don't even like my roommate. He's a little fucking twerp, dude. And so I knock on the door, and I'm like, hey, let me in. And he's like, "Why? What's going on?" And Mike behind him, he goes, "Is it the ghost? Is it the ghost?" I go, "Yeah, it's the ghost." He goes, "You can't come in. You can't come in." And fucking locks the door on me. So I'm like, "You stupid fuckers, the ghost will go right through the wall. You don't understand. You live downstairs with me." But they won't let me inside the house. So then I call my buddy Evan, and I'm like, "Bro, I got to come over." And he's like, "Why? I just left your house 10 minutes ago." I'm like, "Dude, the ghost is here. I cannot be staying here. Like, I have to come spend the night at your house." He's like, "Tyler, there's no fucking ghost at your house. Like, go to bed. I'll see you in the morning." Okay. So I did. So I walked back in my house, shut the door, and I'm like, all right, get in bed and say, "Here we go." And that is the last ghost experience that I've had. So what are those experiences? Like, none of those I was on a psychedelic. None of those I was like trying to get someone to listen to my story or convince somebody that something's going on. I've had many, many experiences where I'm the only one there and I'm not doing it. So what is it? Yeah. I don't know.
The only nice thing about ghosts is that, like, you watch all the movies like The Ring and stuff like that, and it's like the scariest thing. It's like climbing out of a well and pulling your soul out. But like most ghost stories, they're like you said, they're like, they turned the sheets 90 degrees, or like they took the picture off the frame. It's like, these guys are gremlins. They're not ghosts. They're a nuisance, dude.
They're pranksters.
Yeah, exactly.
They're just joking around.
They're
just trying to get your attention. They're bored. They want a relationship. Fuck you. Pay attention to me, or I'll fuck with you.
Well, have you ever had the, like, where you're looking through a doorway and you just kind of turn, and all of a sudden it looks like somebody was there, and they just kind of walk behind the door? Mm-hmm. Constantly. I get that. I had a really good family friend, and they were saying their cousin was getting married, and their aunt had passed away, and their aunt was buried in like a flower dress, or a floral dress, and had a certain watch on, and same haircut or whatever she was buried in. And there's a picture, and this is fucking kind of crazy. There's a picture of the bride and groom up at the altar getting married, and there is a completely like white, like fucking crazy white outline of somebody, and it's like a figure, and she has her hand to her mouth, and the watch that she was buried in is like a gold watch, and that's there, and then the dress is there, but all of her skin and everything you could see is like bleached white in the photo. And they were like, that's that guy's mom watching him get married, and she just got her hand on her mouth, like, and it's the craziest fucking picture. And it's like an old, like, you know, like when you'd have to get your shit developed, and maybe it's something else, I don't know, but I was always told like that shit is this is a picture of a fucking ghost.
All right.
I'm done.
I was just going to say, we are, that's a perfect note to say, you know what, we're approaching 3 hours.
We're about to become ghosts. Let's go.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Tyler.
Thank you.
Tyler,
Good
thanks for
times,
coming on.
man.
Thank you, buddy.
All right.